Well, hello everyone, it's Jeff from Mid-Atlantic Craps over here on the Casino Gaming TV YouTube channel, and welcome to episode 5 of Season 2. We're back with another episode of Craps Chat. We've got a couple people in the green room. If you would like to join the show, it's pinned in the chat right here. If you're in the chat, it's pinned in the chat. It's also in the description below. And you can head over to crapschat.com, and there's a little green button. You can push that, and you can join the show in the Zoom side of it. Right now, we've just got Craig from Old Bay Craps over there, but we'd love to have you. Doesn't matter whether you're a YouTube content provider or a viewer. Just come on in and join us in the chat. We're going to talk about craps, and the show's always fun. It's always exciting. We try to continue it to about maybe a 2-hour show. We've always gone longer than that. Tonight, we don't know what we're going to have. So far, we have 20 people already connected watching us, so there's a couple of you that need to come join us. If you're going to join us on the YouTube side, remember that I have to let you in. So put a name in there that I will recognize you by, and you know exactly what I mean. That way we can get you into the Zoom side and have fun. So let's go ahead and get this show started. Well, there he is, the sidekick, the creator of the show, dialing from Scale of Luck. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. As normal, I have a few technical issues on my side with the chat side of it, but everything seems to be working. Other than that, what would a Craps Chat show be without Jeff having some type of technical issue? And tonight, it's a chat thing. So our chats are going to be kind of intermittent as we go. I've got 2 people out there moderating the show today for the chats, and looking forward to them coming on the show. So we're just going to go ahead and bring them on in. There they are. There's John from Pro Craps and Chris Dice-Stagian. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hello, how you doing?
All right, Chris, say something just so I make sure I got your audio.
Hey, Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, my friend. Wow, I have somebody that wants to enter the room here. I don't know if I'm going to. Yeah, we're going to let them, and we'll see what they have to say. It's a surprise, that's for sure. We'll see what they do. Craig's the only person that can see it at the moment, so we'll see if they show their face. They've got to show their face in order for me to allow them into the show. But in any way, gentlemen, can you believe this is episode 5 of season 2 already? And here we are, almost the first quarter of 2023 over with. We're getting ready to come into a whole nother sporting year, Chris. I'm Chris, and it's amazing how fast the show has evolved into. And here we are again. We never know what to expect. We do have Craig from Old Bay Craps over in the green room, in the Zoom side of it. We'd like to add a couple more, but let's go ahead and talk a little bit. John, I haven't seen any videos because, I've been in Vegas for the past week. Got home yesterday early morning, and a lot went on in a week from what I understand. Is that true?
No, all my videos suck this week. It's okay. You didn't miss anything at all.
Well, I understand you were a little bit under the weather, so it sounded like you're doing a little better.
Oh, my God. I was so out of, dude, I came back from Philly, and I had a really good trip. We haven't talked in a long time. I was in Philly. We missed up trying to connect. Yep. I missed D-Gen trying to connect with him. So I played with my wife, and we had a good time, came back, and I got the airplane flu. And I'm telling you, Monday morning, I had no voice all week. And
wow.
it was hell. And I had a teacher at work call, they went on vacation. I was working double shifts all week too. So I did 2 shows in the morning, taught in the morning, meetings all day, taught at night, rinse and repeat all week. I worked both weekend days, and I have a voice now. Like, I've gotten over the cold. Man, it was a dogfight. I don't know what I talked about all week. I swear to God, the shows this week were a blur because I was in that cold fog. I have no idea what I even talked about. If I said anything good, congratulations for hearing it. If I didn't, sorry.
Well, that might be part of the problem. You might be burning the candle at both ends, and you got to get the proper rest.
I'm telling you. It was just
See,
a perfect storm of ugly, you know. But I'm glad to be here. Thanks again for having me on the show. Highlight of my month is these two shows.
yeah, well, we're going to have one in the month of April due to the Easter holiday. We may squeeze in a second one. I haven't explicitly set my plans yet, but we know we're going to have at least one show because that's the question that Dylan always asks at the end of the show. So, Chris, before I head over to Dylan, how are you, my friend? How have you been? You just got back from vacation last week. I saw part of the Friday night fights live before, boom, I had to cut my phone off on the plane, and then I rewatched it yesterday, and I guess it's congratulations to Nemo on the win, correct?
Yeah. Well, big shout out to John because one killed the show last week, so good work. And if you don't remember what you said, the beauty of YouTube is you can always go back and watch it if you want to hear yourself talk. I don't like to hear myself talk.
I cannot watch myself. No.
But Nemo won. Again, John stepped in because my computer decided to completely die on Friday night. So it's been replaced since then because my computer went absolutely nuts. And so I got a new one. Just got back from vacation. Finally stopped peeling, so I don't look like a snake anymore. So that's always good. I got burnt pretty badly down in Mexico, but it was a good time. And good to catch up with everybody coming back from vacation because I took a craps break on the brain for a couple days there. So good to catch up with everybody and see how everybody's been doing. And it's good. It was good.
Well, glad to see you're back. I'm glad that you two ran the show. And Chris, I think John, you and me have experienced enough technical issues with one piece of equipment or another. But when the key one fails, that's a pain in the butt. That really is something. Yeah. And I know John has backups and I have backups, but I'm telling you, when you do a live show, you just never know what to expect. Like tonight, I'm experiencing a problem with my chat queue and just didn't decide to just let it go and not let it worry me. We'll work through it. I got you two on the show monitoring the questions so that you'll be able to give me a hand with that. And let's go upstairs to Dylan. Dylan, what's up, my friend? Got glasses? You look really serious. Like, are you ready to talk some serious craps tonight?
Oh, I don't know about serious, but these are just reading glasses, so... I just figured.
How many fingers am I holding up?
Oh, maybe two.
Well,
okay. I thought the Vince Nemo match was something to talk about because it ended on a very unusual and unexpected happening. So I thought that was really cool. So I figured we might want to dive into that for just a small second.
For sure. Yeah.
Sure, yeah, we can do that. Let me go ahead and turn Craig's audio on, and then he can join us. But yeah, go ahead, lead the match because I watched the match while I was doing unpacking and a few other things that I just know at the end it was over with, and at the beginning I know that Chris and John had swapped, but I'm not going to lie, I watched it at 1.5 times, and John, you do sound funny.
Oh my God, 1.5x John is no good.
Oh, it's not. You're right. You're exactly right. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Dylan, the floor is yours.
Well, I mean, Vince, I assume that Vince had it all the way because at the very beginning, he got a good fortunate roll, and Nemo did Nemo's stuff the way Nemo normally does, and he put himself in the hole, put himself behind, and then Vince just I don't know what in the world took over Vince, but he just decided to do this Martingale the field and increasing, and it was just I was like, and he had such a huge lead. And I'm thinking, okay, well, at first it was like he was just cat and mousing with him, and then all of a sudden it just got serious, more serious, and that field was not helping him at all. It was not doing him any favors and turned him into compost. I mean, serious. And it just went from bad to ugly, like really, really bad. And I was just amazed that he didn't comprehend where his bankroll was at, And so I don't know if Vince was just playing it off a little bit, or if he just wasn't paying attention, or what have you. But this kept going on throughout the match, and I wanted to get Chris's opinion when it hit from the first level from the first round to the second round. I'd like to get Chris's thoughts in that transition period. So what did you think, Chris?
I was very confused by Vince from the start. I'll be honest with you, because on Friday, so Friday morning, right? John had his coffee and crab show, and Thursday night was one of the March Madness battles, where it was Joseph Ramos who's in chat up against the field Martingale, and I killed the field Martingale in 6 rolls. And I was saying on there, that's not a way to play. Obviously, people requested that go into the tournament, and I didn't want to put it in there, but I did. And Vince on Friday morning liked the play. And I'm sitting there like, okay, I can understand why you may like the play. The problem with it is bankroll constraints, right?
Yeah.
In a tournament type play like this, you have $750 on Friday night fights. Then you have to worry about max bets when you get to a certain stage, because your table max is only so high that Marty can only go up so high. So when he was doing it, I was like, okay, fine. And then John started rolling like I was rolling in the video. I mean, it was like 6 or 7 straight non-field numbers. And I'm sitting there wondering, all right, Vince, why are you not transitioning off of this? Like what are you doing? You have such a big lead.
Comprehend that.
Because Nemo was down to like $150 after the second roll, basically, on Friday. Yeah. And I was watching the chip rack.
His come out was a rail dump, wasn't it? Didn't he come out with everything but like $50 or something?
Yeah, exactly. Everything. And then the only thing that got paid for him was on the second roll was the DP with his odds, right? So I think he had maybe $150, $200. Vince literally had 700 and change in his rack, and I was thinking, all right, Vince was just gonna play the field for a quarter and just sit there and make Nemo just go bankrupt and get the easy first round win and go on to round 2. And then he just kept going up in the field and up in the field and up in the field. Meanwhile, Nemo's in the box. And after the second shooter was over with, it completely changed. I'm looking at the racks. Nemo has over 800 in his rack, and Vince is down to like 200. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And then, it was strange. And then Vince abandoned the field in round 2, which was good. Because again, you only have $150, and he started, doing some 6-8 action and then hopping some 6s and 8s, and he got one to pay off, which ended up actually winning him the second round. Because if he didn't get that hop on the, I think it was a 5-1 that he had a quarter on the hop. If he didn't get that, Nemo would have clipped him in round 2, which it would have been over there. And then it was just very interesting style of play. I don't think there was a style there. It was just kind of like, this sounds good at the moment. And I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but John was dealing really well. There were some ridiculous bets out there. I broke a calculator, I think, trying to figure out what some of the bets were. Like I had to run upstairs to my old school supplies and get out my TI-84 calculator to figure out some of these bets. But it was a good match. It was a lot of fun. The banter between the two of them was great. Obviously, John and I were throwing in jabs here and there, so I had a good time. But yeah, the style of play was interesting.
What do you think, John?
That was
what you think, John?
I mean, honestly, I expected Nemo to go a little crazy at the beginning, and like Chris said, they both should have won it at different times. Like Nemo was down to $100 in 2 rolls. Like he went all in, and I sniped him twice, and he was like down. And he's like, "Well, I guess I'm going on tilt." And he went like, what was it, 156 in the field? That was his he rail dumped on roll 3 into the field. And Vince was like on his third field at like $75. And like all Vince has to do is bet $25 in the field the rest of the day, and Nemo will eventually bankrupt himself. Well, I hit the 157. He goes inside. We hit an inside number, and all of a sudden, Nemo, like you said, he's up. How he did it, I don't know, but he went up by like $1,000 quick because he just stopped topping like a crazy person. And it worked out for him. And then later on, Vince was so far ahead, and the same thing, right? Wasn't Vince way ahead, and then he sort of crawled back to it too. It's like, you guys just let it ride. Like the other guys are never going to catch you. But I think Vince had a lead of like 2,000 to like 800 or something like that, and let it come back. But in the end, it all came down to the shocker at the end, didn't it?
It came down to one.
And
it did come down to that last roll, and that was completely unexpected, and because again the roles had reversed. and Vince caught back up for, almost or passed him and then all of a sudden, you rolled a 3, and then that was that, and then it reversed again.
And the craziest part about that too was we were like John and I think we're talking after the show, maybe once we got off the air, but like if John didn't roll a horn there or a 7 or an inside number, they both would have had $0 in the rack. So it would have been interesting. Yeah. Like if John would have rolled a 4 or a 10, I mean, they both would have had 0 in the rack. And then, I mean, what do you do? Because that was round 3. That was the 6th roll. And, I mean, we would have had to go to, like, extra time over here, like a penalty shootout almost. And it was very, very interesting. Nemo, I didn't know what to expect from Nemo because he plays a lot of different things. Vince, I've seen Vince play a million times on Big AZ's channel, and he didn't do anything what he was doing. He normally does there. So I was caught off guard with that. But it was a crazy battle. It was a great battle.
It was nuts.
Craig knows a little something about winning on a horn to end.
I mean, he does. It shouldn't have got to where it got to. Like that last round started. Nemo was up in the last round because of the full bankroll dump. What did he have? I think he had 1,800. And Vince had 800.
And then Vince had like 600 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Nemo started round 3 with $1,000 lead, and in the end, they both had everything on the table.
Right.
Which was a little bit of insanity. I'm like, what are we doing here? And like you said, it was just, I don't know. It such big, weird swings, and it was unnecessary to bet some of the things they were doing. When you have a 1,000-chip lead, why are you putting 640 across when the other guy's betting $25? Because Vince did 25 in the field, and Nemo went 640 across. I'm like, dude, you're up by $1,000. What are you doing? Like, let the game come to you. But yeah, it was a fun one. I knew it was going to be a little bit of, I had to crack my knuckles and like, I hope I don't fuck this thing up. Like, that was the hardest game to field. Because oh my God, I lasted 8 minutes. Sorry.
Nah, it's all right. Oh, my goodness. Well, I mean, it was an interesting match, and at 1.5 times fast, I guess maybe I missed a little bit there. Craig, my friend, how are you doing?
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
All right. Did you watch the show live Friday night?
I did watch, and if you guys watch any AZ in the last month, you know exactly how Vince and Nemo play. Oftentimes, if Nemo goes out early, he leaves early. But I think at the end we were like, "What are you doing? What you kind of had this." And it just slipped. I mean, I fell for, hey, I got caught in Vince's net the week prior. I was up over, I think maybe over 1,000 to him. And, he just kept hitting that 6 and 8 and hopping the 6 and 8 action. And then I think in the was it the 3rd round that Nemo kept bleeding chips, but then just didn't. It's like they both didn't play the way they normally play. And I think even Chiro just said in the chat, that's not how Vince normally plays. But Vince does play a lot of field on the Big AZ. So when he started doing the field, but it was funny because I just watched Chris's March Madness video where he killed the Martingale in the field. And to see that Vince was just doing the exact same thing was just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll just finish this up on the field talk. Was that when we were in Vegas, I just got back, as most people know, we saw at least twice that the field hit 9, 10, 11 times in a row, and it's only supposed to hit 44% of the time. I mean, it can happen. So, with that said, who's the next challenger? Then we'll move on to the next topic, John. Do you know who the next challenger is?
Ooh, I have to look it up. I forget who it is.
It says Sideshow. I don't know.
Oh, it won't be Sideshow. It's the person below Sideshow.
Crapsy.
Whoever that is.
Crapsy.
Oh,
Crapsy's up next then.
Oh, Crapsy. Who is that? That's not Chuck, right?
Is that Chuck?
I honestly don't know. I don't think it is. I don't think it is Chuck. I see. But I did see.
I show Crap and Camper next. I show Crap and Camper as next, not Crapsy.
Brian. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we had a question here that it's going to be for those of you just joining in. If you want to join the show over on the Zoom side of it where Craig is, you can hit the pinned chat up there or in the description below. Come on over. Make sure it's a name I recognize, and I'll let you into the show. So we do need to make sure we get the right people in here on the show. So the first question that I saw queued up, correct me if I'm wrong, was from Hal, I believe. He asked about does anybody play the all tall and the small, and ironically, my answer to that would be yes. And I don't think I played a hand where the table had the ATS that I didn't play, and I probably caught throughout the 6.5 days of playing. I probably caught a piece of it. I'm going to have to go back and look at my notes, but I guarantee you it was close to 20 times throughout the week. It definitely paid for itself. One of the funnest times that I hit it, and unfortunately, it was with Big AZ, Alfredo, and Rick S. We were playing it on a roll to win table at a $5 table that actually had the ATS, the only ATS roll to win table in Vegas, and they hit the all there, and I hit all of it once during the trip, and that was on the very last day that I was there. So I didn't hit it, but I was at the table when it happened. So I play the ATS. It's ironic that some places in Vegas do play the 30-1 or the 34-1. There's a couple different places that pay differently. Here on the East Coast, most of the time it's 30-1. How about anybody else here on the panel?
Out here,
I play it seldomly, but does anybody
175?
play it? Does anybody just play the small and the tall and not the all?
Oh yeah,
Ever?
I've done that before. Yeah, yeah, I have.
I know people who
just
play only the all, actually.
Yeah, some people just put 5 or 10 on it. I know towards the end of the week, Alfredo came out with 10-10-10, and I think he was one number away from it all, and they had hit the small on Rich's long roll. I don't want to give too much away about the Big AZ's videos. I did talk to him earlier today, but on Rich's long roll, in case you haven't seen it, there's information out there about it. He had a super long roll. Of course, you would guess that it was, I got off the table just before the long roll. I quit playing because AZ had a pretty good roll. But that long roll, he never hit the ATS. They reset it 7 or 8 times. He got a piece of it, but he didn't get it all. 50. Oh, a long roll. Let me just put it that way. But I do play it. Vince is here. He's going back saying never rely on the field for recovery. Vince,
He doesn't take
you need
his
to back
own
up the
advice.
video and watch a little bit. So, John, you were saying, Craig kind of overtalked you there. I got to adjust the volume. But as you were saying, John.
Oh, that's right. I was going to say our local here is pays it right, 175 and 35 at my local,
That's right,
which is good. Which is funny. They pay that the right way, but they pay our hops are 14-1 or 15-1, which is bullshit. Bad hops go to ATS. Has craps turned into ATS or bust?
I don't think so, because I played several times when there was no ATS on the table.
Yeah, I guess what I mean by that question is people talk about I had a great day at the whatever, and it's always a chip porn with they hit the ATS.
Yeah.
And it's not. I played
Every
the Sizzle
Facebook
and
group,
made
it's always
$85. It's nothing but ATS hits, and I wonder if people are changing. Is that the reason for dice influence? They try to hit the ATS, and that's that the game become about this one part of the game, and not everything else, except for the few of us, of course, that are nerds and like to do everything else. But is that what it's turned into? That seems what I hear about most of the time.
I saw a lot of players that didn't play the ATS included in our group, and the times they weren't on it, they were disappointed they weren't, and the times they were the people that were on it, they were super excited, especially when just one piece of it hits, because you're making 150 or 175 depending upon which way you get paid. But it's nice when the all comes. It just doesn't happen frequently enough, and a lot of people think that it's not worth the bet. So there he is himself, the former king of the Mountain. 2 of them on screen there.
Hey, Vince is here, huh? Yeah.
Vince is there.
Hey,
Yeah, don't have any
guys.
audio on him yet. Don't have any audio
Hey,
yet,
John,
but he's here.
I'm curious, John. When you said that the hops are not paying correctly, but they're paying 15-1. What are you?
No, 15-4-1. They pay 15-4-1, so 14-1. Yeah, so we
it's
lose.
14. Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah, and but our ATS pays right. It pays a higher level, so it's weird.
Gotcha. They switched the 4 to the 2. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I heard something that Borgata got rid of their good payout. I don't know
Really?
if anyone's played there or not, but yeah, Borgata had. I mean, in March they had the the 35 for one, and then the 175 for one. But I saw on Facebook and a couple other places that they changed it to what everybody else is doing with their ATS now, with like the 30 for one and the 150 for one. I don't know. I haven't seen it personally to confirm, but I've heard it's been changed. And Adam and I were at the Borgata when we went to Atlantic City last time, and we liked it because of that payout. So
Yep.
I don't know. I don't typically play the ATS. My local doesn't have it, so I don't play it. I'll play it when I'm with like the group, hoping somebody hits it. But otherwise, I don't play it. I look to make money on the rolls, not necessarily on the ATS. If you hit the ATS, fantastic. I want you to hit numbers multiple times.
Yeah.
Give me some box hits, whatever it is. That's what I'm looking for to win money consistently, not by getting an ATS hit. That's just me personally.
No, you can't rely on that, but it is nice when it happens. And the way that I do mine, a lot of people fuss at me because how I get it covered is a $20 line bet, regardless whether I'm shooting or not, and a $5 craps kind of covers it. Second box hit, I consider it paid for, but the problem is if you don't get the second box hit, then you have an extra $20 out there, 555 ATS and $5 on the craps bet. But it seemed to always kind of work out for me. But that's just the way that I play. I saw. Probably a variety of players that I know, probably in the mid-20s, play, and it was ironic, the way that they were playing, because I don't necessarily want to call them strategies, but the way that they were playing was varied from player to player. But the people that were out on the ATS, they were always out on the ATS, regardless of whether they covered it with their pass line. Some of them didn't even have a pass line bet out because two places allowed us to make the ATS without a pass line bet. So,
Well,
it's
the
kind of
ATS
funny
just
that,
sucks. It sucks the pass line bet away. Like the pass line bet is only good. It's only a good bet because of the come out roll. And with the ATS, it takes that advantage away from you. It's a complete bleed. Like I look at that and I go, that's the reason. That's to me the selling point not to play it is because it takes away your only advantage down there. And yeah, the odds, whatever, but now you're playing only the odds, right? If you get to come out sevens, it's mathematically it's not great, but I get why people do it.
let's go
Sure,
ahead and
it's fun
welcome
to
the
hit
two.
it when you hit it.
Let's go ahead and welcome the two people just came in. The Canadian Vince, as it's known over on Big AZ's channel, and then you see Vince there. I called him the other Vince when he first started joining us last year. He's got in there the real Vince. So welcome to both of you. Canadian Vince, you were here first. So how are you doing, my friend?
Which Vince you talking about?
The Canadian Vince. I don't think the other Vince is from Canada.
Okay, yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. We're doing good. You know what? What made me chime in is I seen a question that was asked in the chit chat, and it said, "How many of you guys resort to betting on the field as a last resort?" And I had to chime in. I says, "Oh my God!" You know what? I'll tell you. I watched Dice DJ, and he had a beautiful challenge going on. He was with another gentleman, and they were playing this field parlay, field Marty, whatever you call it. I don't know what it's called. I don't want to know what it's called anymore, but don't use it as a last resort. Do not use the field as a last resort. Do the skill 66. Just don't do any kind of field Martingale. Forget that crap. It doesn't work.
Is this speaking from experience from Friday night, Vince?
Yeah, you know what? Why you got to bring back that memory? I thought I had it out of my head. That's right. I did it on. When did I play that? I played that last week sometime. I played.
Well, actually,
Yeah,
you
that's
missed
right.
the first. You missed the first 10 minutes of the show, Vince. We talked about Friday Night Fights, so you were
Oh,
you were
my
late. That's
God.
kind of what led us on to that question. It led us to the field bet, led us to the ATS question, and here we are having a discussion. And let's go to the real Vince, the real Vince, who's known as the other Vince in my terms, because
Hey, I'm
he's
not
been on
real.
my
I'm
show and
not
played
real.
many a time. Vince, how are you doing? The
I'm
bottom
good,
Vince
Jeff. How
there.
about yourself there?
I'm doing good, my friend. I'm glad that you could join us tonight, and it's nice to see you back. It seems like I tune into Big AZ's show almost every night, and the two of you, and sometimes the third one on there, a Zoom call, is on the show. And wow, you guys are just incredible. I actually had an opportunity to spend a pretty good amount of time with Big AZ one-on-one and playing with him, and it was a great time. I know Durso asked in the chat to talk about how'd I do in Vegas. I'm going to put out a a final trip report. I may even do it live, but I haven't decided yet because it was a wild swing. A lot of lows, a few highs, and a wild ending is all I can say there. But welcome to everybody that's here. Let's talk about that field because that was a question that was asked. I put it up there one time. That's why Vince popped up here. Dan DVD says, speaking of the field, how many of you people use it as a comeback, as a last hope? Me personally, never. Anybody else?
No.
Nope.
I never do.
Yeah.
For me, when I'm in the real casino, I use it as like let me throw $5. Let me see if this goes, how this goes, That type of thing.
Usually if I'm playing the inside, I only use it to help me grab the 4 and 10 and get one of those bets free.
Right. All right. Well, to follow up that, I missed James' question. I probably should tell you guys, my chat program that I queue the questions is currently not working, so I really need you to put a capital Q, or if you put Mac or Jeff in there, it'll pin it so I can color it and I can see it. Both John and Chris are here keeping track of some questions, but at least put a capital Q so we see the question. We can come back to it. James asked, a great topic would be how to recover from losing bets. And I have a recovery system, if you will, but it failed me twice in Vegas, big times, and I exceeded the amount of money that I wanted to play that day. One time I pulled my money out, which is against my regulations. I wasn't disciplined, and the other time I just said, "Okay, enough is enough. Here, next, have at it." Anybody want to talk about a recovery from losing bets?
Yeah, I'll talk about it.
I know,
you know how I do it?
Yeah.
It's like I lost on the craps. I go around the corner to blackjack.
Oh, come on.
That's a pretty good one. Or baccarat. A lot of craps players seem to play
I love
baccarat. Yeah.
Can't afford baccarat.
That's where you
Baccarat's
go.
$100 a bet now. Baccarat is like, who can afford it? The thing with sports betting, though, Chris, it takes a while. Right? You get your ass
That's
kicked on
why
the
you
craps
place
table.
the
You
bets
can't go.
before
You
you
can't
go to the
sports
craps
bet.
table.
There you go.
Listen. You go to the sports book. You walk in. You go place your bets. You go to the craps table. You have some fun, whatever, and you're watching the games while you're playing craps. Hopefully, winning money playing craps. And then you go over to the sports book when you're done your craps session to cash the ticket that you placed. And it's a great time. Recovery wise on a craps table though, perfect segue there. I think it depends on kind of what I was playing that got me into needing to recover. Because sometimes I'm light, sometimes I'm dark, sometimes hybrid. So I think it depends. I don't have like a go-to strategy that I use to necessarily recover. But I'll usually switch off of whatever I was doing and, do something different personally.
All right. Anybody else? Dylan, what do you do to recover? Besides go home. We'll come back to you, Vince. We'll come back to you. Go ahead, Dylan.
Usually it's a 6, 7, 8, or something to that effect. Just something narrowing it down.
Something that that you feel has a lower volatility because you're going to win one way or the other, and very seldom to lose both. Although the 6, 7, 8 can lose. But that's interesting. You see, Lou from New Jersey there says poker room's his recovery. So Lou's a player that we play with. Chris and I play with all the time. Vince, you were going to say something about a recovery. The Canadian Vince, the one on top, the Northern Vince.
Yeah, well, in my area, they got no more real tables. There's no real craps tables anymore. So I've been reverting to online play because in Ontario, Canada here, they just legalized 100 casinos, and there's more growing every day. There's more being added. And they have all these in the promotions area of the online casinos. They have a thing called an insurance bet. And what it is if you lose $100, no problem. We'll give you back the $100. It's like and it's really weird how so many people can take advantage and use those as their recovery option. Because it was funny because I was doing a live stream on a channel and I kept losing on the craps, and all of a sudden $100 just magically appeared in my bank. And it's like, okay, this is a good option. This is a good opportunity to take advantage of all this. And all those 100 casinos is treat those those insurance, and you get them for sports betting as well. And you could treat them as part of your game, part of your strategy, that if you lose your $100, you know you're going to wind up getting it back anyway. So you could totally utilize that and build it into a betting strategy.
Those online casinos are interesting. My son does, and now Chris can speak this too. The online sports books all the time give you these like super bets. Like, all of a sudden, like you're betting the thing, and like, hey, if you pick one of these 8 bets, we'll give you 2 to 1, or we'll double the whatever, right? Or like free play.
The parlay.
Imagine in craps. Well, it's not even a parlay, but they'll give you extra money. Like, here's an extra $75 to bet on this game, or whatever they're going to do. It's like totally free. Imagine in craps if you're having a shitty craps day, and they go, you know what? For the next 20 minutes, we're paying the 6 and the 8 at 3 to 1. They're like, hell yeah, poof, go to the 6 and 8. Online casinos do that all the time, and those teaser bets, those enticements are incredible. Zach makes so much money on that. I'm sure Chris does as well. When those things pop up, he's like, boom. And you don't have that luxury.
I love those things.
Yeah,
you got to be careful with some of them. You got to read the fine print on all those kind of things. Either sports betting, online casinos, whatever it is, because they phrase them very similarly. They present them very similarly, but they're different with different things. So like, I love when I get like a boost on a parlay or something, where I have to place a parlay and I get like a 50% profit boost on it. I'm all over those because that's basically free money for a bet that I was probably already going to place. I try not to force bets to fit in those criteria. I think that's something that people need to be careful with. They also give you boosts, like on like the sports book, for example. They'll give you a boost for like a play that they create. I would stay away from those because usually those are the most bet props or the most bet spreads. And 99% of the time, the public is wrong on at least one of them on a given week. If you look at last night, for example, in March Madness, 89% of the money and I think almost 93% of the bets were on Kansas State on the money line last night. They lost, obviously. So, just be careful with those things. Read the fine print. And with the online casino, a lot of the times what they do, depending on the offer, is that they'll give you the credit back to your account, but you can't withdraw it. You have to play with that. So, like, if you deposit the 100 and you lose it, they'll give you another 100 credit, but you can't withdraw that 100. The 100 you deposited, you could have withdrawn, but you can't withdraw the bonus money they give you. So, technically speaking, yes, it's free money, but you did pay the 100 to get in there. Now you can't withdraw this. So, like, you have to, make
hey,
the
say
money
something. They're
back.
all in Vegas having a chat.
I love Vegas. I was in Vegas last year.
There you go.
All right, go on, Chris. Finish it.
So just be careful with that kind of stuff. And then some of the books have wagering requirements. So, like, in order to get the bonus back to your account, you have to wager,
Sorry, guys.
a certain amount of money or a certain amount of times the bet in order to actually win that kind of money back. So just keep that stuff in mind. Pay attention to the fine print.
Yep.
At Dice Degen, I discovered a trick for that bonus crap stuff. The online evolution craps actually gives you a do-we-don't. You can actually play the come and the don't come, as well as the don't pass and the pass line at the same time. So if you want to do a quick, when they do those weekend leagues where they give you so many points after so much money you bet. But if you want to clear that $100, remember when I was talking to you about making sports bets for those insurance? They kept on giving me $100 free bets. And then if I lose, I still get it back. That's how I was getting the money out. I was doing a do-we-don't, betting $25, $50 per side. It was awesome.
Wow, that's an interesting twist there, Vince. Only you would probably think of that, but that's a good segue into the next question. From James Newberry. I'm going to put it up in just 1 second. Guys, we'd love to have you on the show. The description is in the description. The link is in the description below. It's in the chat pinned above. Just come on in. Just make sure I recognize who you are, and we'll let you in to get on the show and talk about it. And guys, if you're using a question, the capital Q seems not to be working. I'm trying to pin them all. I'm going to rely on Chris and John to help me here. But here's James's question to Vince. This works right into that. Is it better to play from the dark side on the DP or the DC? And I think it depends on who you ask. A true dark player probably is going to always be on the DP. I've tended to like to run my dark play now through the DC, but it's one half dozen the other. What say the panel?
I'll speak. I like the
Who wants to go
DC
first?
Because the DP, you have to get past that first roll. Now, granted, the DC bet, yes, the next roll can't be a 7 or an 11, but I like the chance of that going, because sometimes you'll have it placed, which means when your DC goes, you get paid on your place bet, and then you could use that for odds.
Yep. All right. Anybody else?
I have to
I
agree
agree for the DC. Good.
Go ahead, John. We'll come back to you. Hang on, Vince. Go ahead, John.
I prefer the DC too, and the reason why I prefer the DC is because the come out 7 is so powerful, and I'm not trying to avoid it on the don't pass. I'm trying to get it on the DCs that are set. So once I get a couple of those things set, and the shooter makes their point or whatever, the come out 7 is where it's at for me. And I like to root for the come out 7 when I'm behind with those flat bets. It's such a powerful place to be. So for me, that's where I prefer, and that's the reason why.
Okay. All right, Vince.
Yeah, I agree with both John and OBC Craps. It's because of the fact that a lot of times when the hype at the tables, they get really crazy, and there's guys always wanting to roll for those 7s and those yo 11s. Let them have their fun. Just if you're going to be a dark sider, I would highly recommend betting the DC instead, because of the fact that of that sole reason. Everybody's wanting that 7 on the come out roll. They don't care after they make the point.
I have a follow-up question to John in regards to that. Do you ever wait, and then let's say a point gets hit and your DC bets are waiting for that come out 7? Do you then put odds before that come out 7 roll?
Instead.
It depends on where the bets are. Yes, I'll totally do that. I'll hammer them if I can. You don't get a lot of chances to do that. Like I figure, like on the don't pass, don't come, the odds. Obviously, you're putting more to pay less, which people don't like, but it's the mathematical thing, right? That works. And if you've got DC bets out there on the 9 and the 4, hell yeah, put the odds out there for the come out roll. No question. I may then pull them back and use those to get another DC bet, and then go back with odds. But yeah, for the come out roll, I'm hitting that thing pretty hard. Trying to anyway.
I don't mind. I'll throw my 2 cents in here. I don't mind doing 2 or 3 times on the dark side, for odds. But if you go any heavier than that, then it's almost. I mean, if it doesn't work, you're really putting yourself behind the 8 ball. So you've got to have. Yeah. There's a question of moderation. Again, moderation, consistency, that's part of my speech, but it's with the half press stuff, but
it ends up being the same as the pass line odds, right?
And I'm not going to go crazy. Even at a 10 times table odds that I've got here in St. Louis, I'm not doing 10 times odds. I'm doing 2 or 3,
right.
4. But I'm not if I'm on the pass when I'm on the pass line. But again, it's moderation. I'm not I'm not trying to go for the big kill, or what have you. It's moderation for me, and I feel that's what works for me.
Those odds, right? So the thing that scares folks off the odds on the don't is you got to, in most cases you're betting 2 or a little less than 2 to win 1. So single odds on the don't on the 4 or 10 is $50 to win a quarter, where single odds on the pass line is $25 to win 50. And you're like, oh, that's a lot less risk, but you're likelier to win the one versus lose the other. And it's like, okay, half the time I'm going to lose that $25, half the time I'm going to win on my big odds bet up top. At the end of the day, it's all the same. Your bankroll dictates what you're going to do, and I think it's got to fit. You can't play odds at all. You don't have the bankroll for it. I was talking to Cheer out there in chat. He was at the 100x odds table, and I keep saying at some point in my life, I'm doing it. I'm going to go DC, and it's going to hit a 4, and I'm going to put $20,000 on that damn, or $2,000 on that 4 against $10, just to do it one time, right? And I'm going to also do it on the pass line. I'm going to have a 6 as a pass line, and I'm putting, whatever, 100 times odds back there. I want to get a selfie with that bet. I'm going to lean in one time and get the, John with this stack of reds like Vince, but behind the pass line. That's like a life goal of mine. And then lose it and then cry, and then that'll be it.
So, John,
I would love to get Ed's input on that.
All right, real quick before Ed speaks. John, is that on the bucket list?
Absolutely on the bucket list. That's 100%, 100x odds on the don't and the do. That is a bucket list selfie with both of those.
John's new YOLO.
That's going to be can you imagine how clenched up you would be if you had like $25 in the pass line and you put, 100 times behind that? $2,500 in odds on like a 5 or something. Can you imagine?
Well, let's go and let Ed answer the question. Ed, good evening. Welcome. I know that you do like to place a lot of odds on the pass line, but did you hear the question that was being asked?
I didn't catch all of it, but I think I know it. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's like how many odds or something along that lines do you put on your don't bet?
Well, that's not the question. We were talking about a DC versus DP, but then we kind of worked into the odds. So, yes, have at it. Go ahead.
Well, it's really pretty simple. How many people do you know that bet $110 inside?
Quite a few.
On the right side. What do they win on one hit?
$35.
$35. They're risking $110 to win $35. That's pretty damn stupid.
Tell it like it is, Ed.
It is. I mean, it's stupid. You're betting $110 to win $35. It's stupid.
Ed, be careful what you're saying there.
And then they'll fuss at you for betting $50 on odds on a 4 to win 25. Which one's better? Which is the better deal? $100 to win 50, 50 to win 25. Max it out. I mean, do 20,000, John. I want to be there when you do it because I'm going to knock your ass off when I'm throwing.
No, when you're throwing, I'm going pass line. No, when you, it's pass line. That's going to be, I'm serious. $25 in the pass line, $2,500 an ounce. And Ed, you're going to make me money. Can't wait.
Jeff seen me play the don't, so I'm not real good at it. I'm just pretty consistent at what I do. I never put odds on a 6 or 8. I never do, but it's hard for me to resist those outside number odds. And I like to play the DC with it, get 2 or 3 of them up there. If I get knocked off my DP, then I load up some odds on the DCs, looking for a come out 7. That way everybody wins. That's the way I play it.
Nope, I agree. Anybody else got comments about odds on either side, the pass line or the dark side, the DC or the DP? Anybody? Any further comment on that? Looking for some more question, guys. If you got a question in the chat, put a capital Q. Go ahead, Vince.
Personally, I am more of a light side player. But I'm with you, Ed. I don't put odds on my 6 or 8 on the pass line, but on the outside numbers, load them up. Let's get some more money there. Risk some to make some more.
Yeah, I mean to me it's a wash either way. But you're like, why people bet these big numbers on box numbers for a small payout? And I know a lot of people may be scratching their heads, but it's the truth. It's just simple math. It's the truth of what I'm saying. To bet 110 to win 35 is ridiculous if you're going to fuss at somebody for betting 50 to win 25.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Definitely.
I mean, I love odds on 5 or 9. Now I've been knocked off a lot. I've been knocked off more 4s and 10s than I have 5s or 9s, I think, since COVID. But I love my odds. I like my odds on my pass line. I'll go. It's a quarter table. I'll go 4 times odds for about 3 throws. If I can't hit the point in 3 throws, I'll drop it. I'll pull up 50 and put it back in the rack and leave 50. 2 times odds on it or something. That's kind of how I play it. You can pick. A lot of people don't realize you can pick your odds up.
Oh yeah.
Yep. No, I do like what John did put in there about the differences between the 110 and winning over and over and over, and the dark side is with odds is a one-time shot. But it's a good conversation because I'll get to you, Vince, because we have, diversity in the game. There's some people, as we know, that are strictly dark side, and there's light side. There's people like Chris and I that like to mix it up on both sides and play the hybrid. One of the questions I'm getting asked all the time in the Discord is, Jeff, what did you play? What strategy did you play, and where were you? And you guys are going to be surprised to hear that answer, and it'll explain the first part of the week, and it'll explain the last part of the week. But that's not what this show is about. Tonight's show is about you guys. Come join the show. Join us here in the Zoom. It's pinned in the chat, and it's also in the description below. Vince, you had your hand up.
Yeah, it's pertaining to roll to win. Ed, is Ed roll to win?
Yes, roll to win craps. Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you a huge kudos because of when I think Ed roll to win, I think trend player. You've been on a lot of you've been mentioned on a lot of groups. I'm in a lot of craps groups, and your name comes up. So I wanted to give you a kudos because a lot of people really talk when it talks about betting and styles and stuff. Your name comes up a lot, and it's never about strategies though. It's about all I see. It always seems to be about trend. And my question is that your go-to? Is it trend betting styles?
Well, you can call it a trend. I bet what's tossed. You know, I don't go out there and go all the way across. I maybe say for example, I've got a set. I'm trying to hit even numbers. I may not bet a 5 or 9, but heck, the second toss might be a 5. Well, I'm going to probably bet the 5 just because I threw it early and see what happens. But I'm really that's it. I guess you can call that a trend if you want to. I'm looking for repeating numbers. I'm looking for numbers that I can press the fool out of once we get on up there a little ways. I don't have a strategy. I don't know. You can ask these other strategy guys what they play and that kind of thing.
Yep. I think to answer your question, Vince, what you talked about, Ed, I know there's a lot of discussion about his reputation and his ability to show it like it is on his channel, and he's experienced it. He's been on other people's shows. He's just not my show and here, but he's been elsewhere. He's associated with a group that teaches both the DI and the betting side of it, and to be able to have the experience that he has. He's changed my game drastically, Vince, and I think Ed just gave my total trip report in about 90 seconds there.
Nice.
I don't know how I did that.
You'll see when I bring it out. You'll see. There was a follow-up question here. I pinned it a second ago, or I put it up there to talk about that. And I guess this is James who initially asked one of the questions. DC with the place bets collect on the travel. I understand what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. You could be winning on either side, but one bet or the other is always going to lose. To me, too much of that is too much of too much of that. I don't know what more to say about that. I don't know if anybody understood what I said. Who knows? I got jet lag, guys.
Hey, Jeff, real quick.
Yes, sir.
I know that your questions or your chat was kind of messed up. Is that preventing super chats, or is that unrelated, or what? I'm just curious.
Nope, has nothing to do with that at all. Yep, that's all back on the backside of CGTV. It's my software here, not connecting with CGTV on the YouTube side, and I have to put in a trouble ticket for it. It happened once before, if you remember dialing, probably right at the end of the year. We had to do the chats. We're doing it right now. Sort of like what I'm pushing this chat up here now from Joe Ramus. When you was in the Blue Wrench crew, Jeff, did you play all the pass line or the don't line? Well, Joe, I don't want to give it away too much because that's not the time for the show. I think you all are going to be surprised at how I bet. It's like I said a minute ago, it's why I struggled in the beginning, but it's why I came back in the end. A few people out there that were there know it and saw it. I don't want to give anything away from Big AZ's videos. I had a ball with them. I struggled in my first several days, and I did come back. And this game is wild, guys. Every one of us on this panel can shake our head. Yes, this game can be frustrating, wild, entertaining, fun, and disappointing all at the same time. And it was every bit of that. And I was with good fellowship, good camaraderie, and had a good time. And Ed, you would be disappointed to know that I did not have one sip of brown water at all while I was in Vegas. I know. No nightcaps. No nightcaps.
It was clear. It was clear.
Speaking of brown water, right back on Ed. Ed, has brown water ever directed you on your next bet?
Oh yeah.
I know the answer to this. I know the answer. Tell him, Ed.
100%. If you're lying, if you're saying something
I know the answer. Go ahead, Ed.
I'd be lying if I said it didn't, I guess. I guess I'd be lying, but I'd like to pretend it didn't.
Yeah, Ed, but you know that we even talked about it in Biloxi in the beginning of February, Ed, that we saved that till the sessions were over with. Went back, had one or two, maybe three, and talked about what we did and what we didn't do, and what time was the coffee run and so forth. Yeah.
Does anybody do it to relax them for shooting purposes?
You know,
say that again.
There was a time when I can remember walking up the very first time, and I would literally be shaking. My hands would be shaking when I'd pick up the dice. And if you're like that, then maybe you might need a good little stiff drink just to kind of calm your nerves, because that's just nerves. That's just walking up to a table the first time on a Friday, and you're just kind of like you're literally shaking. I used to do that. So I am guilty of putting little Baileys in my coffee on a coffee run on occasion. And if I didn't do that, I might do a screwdriver because I need the vitamin C.
Yeah.
Vitamin C.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
There's a lot of germs out there in them casinos.
Let's Churro and Arnell put a couple things out here. I got to meet Corey Sith Lord this weekend. It was pretty cool, and of course we all know who Corey is. He was a 6-time reigning champion on the Casino Gaming TV's Friday Night Fights for a while. I think he fell to Craig, but I actually saw Michael Shackelford at the Santa Fe. He has a hobby that I'm not going to reveal it here, but he has a hobby. There was a convention or a show going on, and he was there, and it was a pleasure to actually meet and talk with him. And I didn't recognize him. The person I was with him recognized him, and was able to actually say, hey, that's who it was. So that was very interesting. Churro said that he came across. Where's Churro's message here? Let me back up just a second, guys. Bear with me because I'm struggling with this chat today. Churro said that he got a couple subs from some dealers out in Kansas City. There it is. Me personally, I don't like to talk about the YouTube channel when I go and play. People ask, we sort of get a conversation. This past weekend, we had we couldn't be hidden because there's 2 cameras on the table. Big AZ recorded probably close to 15 hours of video while we were there. And if you've seen any of his shorts that have come out, he's dropped about 30 shorts, and so most of them are funny or really positive times. But I don't particularly tell anybody that that's what I'm doing. I got recognized at my local just before I left to go, and small conversation about that. But I don't try to. I don't really publicize that part of it. So, guys, if you have a question, please put my name in it, Jeff, so that I can. It'll color it on my screen here. I don't have the ability to pin the question like I normally do. So, John, if I miss one, Chris, let me know.
I'm tracking here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super chats are welcome. Super chats are welcome as well.
I just wanted to let Midmo, next time you go to that casino, just when you hand in your player's card, ask the pit boss, is there anything in the remarks section? And just ask them. There's a section called remarks, and it's amazing how much information casinos collect on a person.
Interesting. Very interesting. And it's probably shared amongst brands, too.
What would they tell you? I mean, I've never asked that, so I'm curious now.
I don't know either.
When I When I go to my local, they know I'm a DJ. They know I where I work because they collect information. They put it in the remarks, and it's like, if I'm always wearing a favorite colored shirt, they put it on there. It's like really weird stuff. Because the next time I go to visit the casino, I'm in the VIP lounge the one day, and they knew my stuff too. It's like, hey, you still doing the DJing on the side? You know how they strike up a conversation?
Yeah.
That's where they get the information from. It's in the remarks.
Ah.
Huh, interesting. That is interesting. Yeah, I actually...
throw your game off. It's like, how the hell does he know that?
I think they put stuff in there like bets the dealers, doesn't bet the dealers, guys a jerk.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they do all that kind of stuff.
Yep. And if they recognize you're a professional gambler, they comp you differently. They comp you at 1% instead of 1.75% on the blackjack. It's stuff like that. Just really weird. He's a card counter.
And they'll also comp you direct from the table better than they will from like what other places in the casino do.
Well, the events in February, I think it's when we were there. Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. I had a little talk with one of the pit balls because they didn't have a box guy. The pit boss was doing all the entering, so I asked him before he closed me out, what he rated me at, and he said, "I already closed you out." I said, "Is there any way you could just go back and look?" So I was actually standing looking at the screen, but I never saw a mark box, Vince. I will look for that next time. I can tell you that because I always ask when I'm done, what did you rate me at? And I'd be curious to know if it's where it is. Typically, it's a little more than what I'm betting. Only on a few times it's been a little less than what I'm betting. But that tip came from my host to be able to ask them that. And if there's an issue, then I can always contact my host and have them intervene. So real quick, all is well. I'm not going to talk about the trip, but I can tell you what the averages were. Didn't play at a $5 table, although there were plenty. We played mostly at a 10 and a 15. While Big AZ was recording, it was $10 table. I like the Stations Casino put up the private. They actually on the recorder, the electronic table limits, they put up private on it. I thought that was nice of them. But we played on it. I played on it anywhere from a $10, $15, and a $25 table, and I saw a variety of play, which you'll hear in my trip report. And some people probably are not going to like what I'm going to have to say about strategies, but I saw a wide variety of play. I played with up to 28 of AZ's crew members at one point or time, and then I played by myself at Harrah's with a bunch of people that I got to meet that I became very fond of, and when I was at the table, they'd come to the table. If I saw them at the table, I'd go to the table. So hopefully all is well. Why don't you come join us on the chat? If you ask which table had the best casino, we could probably talk about that. I mean, the best table. We could probably talk about that all night. I like a hard surface with less bounce, and trust me, some of the casinos downtown that had bouncy tables have changed their felt, and according to two dealers that spoke to us, the casino wanted to know why the craps play had dissipated. And I don't want to call out the casinos, but two of them had listened to the players, which this is a quote from the dealers. We listened to the players, and this is why they're not playing here. So they got rid of that bouncy underlayment. I'm gonna call it foam rubber for lack of a better word, but they brought back a microfiber that was tight and a hard surface, and I like that. I like a hard surface. I don't like a lot of bounce.
And who is that?
That's just my preference.
You won't say who it is. What casinos do have those hard surfaces?
I'll just mention one because I'll just mention one because the box guy was a donkey. Just figure that word out. I'll mention it, and that was the Plaza. The Plaza's changed all their felts to become a hard surface again. The table that Big AZ typically would film on was the one we were playing on. I walked by the two tables at the opposite end of the table game area, and I knocked my hand on it, and sure enough, they sounded pretty hard to me as well. Downtown, the Nugget. Is in the process of changing felts. Tables were bouncy, some were hard. But the comment that came to us came from the Plaza that they actually were listening to the players, which that just astonished me that they would actually say that. Because, most of our group, at that time I was playing with Brian from Hawaii Crap Shooters and Chef Dice, Gucci, and Big AZ was to my left. We had Kevin Blue Way J, Miguel Black Light was there. It was a fun time, and each one of them had played on that table before. I had not, and they all said that they agreed that the table conditions were much better.
Cool. Oh, Jeff, I did want to ask you this: were you surprised about table minimums? And are you seeing across the board that the table minimums are starting to come down? Is that the trend?
In Vegas, and I don't go that often, Dylan, as you know, in Vegas, you can find $5 tables off the strip. Anywhere on the strip is $10 during the daytime, $25 at the nighttime. At the upper things like the Bellagio, the Wynn, the Aria, you would see $50, $100, and $500 tables. And the $500 table at the Bellagio was packed. $500 minimum bets. It was packed.
Wow. Yep. Awesome.
Wow. Yep. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Yes, Vince. Go ahead, Vince.
A quick addition. What are you guys' thoughts? What are you guys' thoughts on the 14, 15, and 16-foot tables? Nobody ever talks about them.
Well, Vince, it's a good question about the 14-foot tables, because in Vegas you find quite a bit of 14-foot tables. My local in my backyard has a 14. The other one has a 12. 16, I've been in Connecticut and played at Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun. Mohegan Sun was $50 minimums. I shouldn't say I played there, but I went there. They were 16-foot tables, but the 16-foot table at the Foxwood is one heck of a long table. Now, Vince, you know, I'm 6'4", I'm 310 pounds, and I got a good reach. So, getting the dice down there is hard to do. But I, along with Tito, we got told that we couldn't extend our hand over the prop area, so we had to take a step to the left, which I guess I better go stage right on this one. And so our hand wouldn't extend over. And twice I got called for not hitting the back wall. Again, it was at the plaza. And even Chef Dice spoke up and said, did both dice hit the back wall? And after my hand was over with, he and I talked, and we were getting the stink eye from the box. So I didn't care. I mean, this first time ever playing there, probably the last time, but we'll see. But I like the table. The table conditions were wonderful. I had a pretty decent mid-teen roll on that table.
Let me ask you this: according to the long table stuff, our table, all our tables here in St. Louis are pretty well standard. But if they're, they're not super, they're 12s, normally. And so, do you think that they're having they have the 14 and 16 and whatever is to get more people? Are they able to put more people on it, or is it just more for quote unquote comfort of the players so that they're not squished?
No, it's two more people. It's two more people. And the thing is, the 16-footers are 100% of the time, 99% of the time, because I don't want to be an absolutist, they're crapless because they need the extra space for the numbers, right? So you'll never catch me at a 16-foot table anyway, right? It's a garbage game, and those tables are always going to be extra bouncy. And dealers have to now deal to probably 2 or 3 extra people, which slows the whole works up, and it confuses them too. There's so much more to manage on a 16-foot table. The whole experience to me sucks. I hate it not for throwing reasons, just for the experience at a long table. It's just not a good time. So that's my thought. But I think almost everybody here, John, on the panel and in the chat would probably love to play on a 12-foot table. I mean, it's just nice because of the reach. I see here that Arnell said that most tables don't want you to extend past the center of the table. Arnell, my hand and my reach probably was center of the table. I don't know that it was over it, but Tito is 2 inches taller than me with a much longer reach, and he clearly was going well over half over the table, and they made him move. But the 16-foot table, I think that you're right, John. It's to get more people in. It does slow the game down. Although Chris will speak in our group, or the AC group, when we play together, we go in rotation of payment, whether it's a place line bet or they're paying a box bet, and we don't have all these people throwing bets down and calling out things and confusing the dealer, because you add 2 more people to a 16-foot table, and they don't know the order of pay. And then the late bets and all these other things that go on, it's very confusing. And I think a longer table would be less rolls, but it equals more money because they're getting 4 more people on that table. Yeah. Oh yes, Vince. I just like a tighter game. I like a 12-footer.
I was just going to say, I look at it this way: it's not the size of the table, to be honest, because my mom was a craps dealer for 30 years, right? She worked at Caesars in Atlantic City there, and they were taught to have the dice rolling every 30 seconds. If those dice weren't in the air, they were not. They were getting yelled at for that one. So it's
I heard something about an 8-second rule in Vegas there.
No 8 seconds. My local in the Delaware area, one of the locals there, they do have a 5-second rule. That once the dice are pushed and the dealer says dice out, and he releases the stick, you have 5 seconds to get rid of them. Depending on the crew, depending on the day, they don't really push that. But 8-second rule, Vince, is interesting because Ed, correct me if I'm wrong. You could probably have the dice being pushed at you, recognizing what faces are coming towards you, set the dice, get in your stance, and throw in under 8 seconds. Wouldn't you think?
Oh,
Could be able to do it in under 3 seconds. Should be able to.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
8 seconds shouldn't be a problem.
I'm a meticulous setter, and if they're not giving me the heat, I'm gonna take my time. If they give me the dice, they're my dice until they take them away from me. So I take my time. If they give you some kind of grief about it, you can do faster. There's not a problem. I mean, you need to watch what they're shooting, or what they're dragging to you, and if you know your faces, you know what's up, you know where you want to go. You pick up the first one, you set it down, you take the next one, you twist it, turn it, set it down, and you go. But I'm a meticulous shooter. I don't ever get any heat where I play for being a little bit slower than the norm or slow at all. I don't know if I'm slow or not, but it's just kind of my routine. I can speed it up if I need to. It's not a problem. I don't mind the 14-foot tables if there's not a lot of people on them. If there's a lot of people on the table, I don't want to be anywhere near it unless the dice are coming to an open spot I'm going to shoot from.
Correct.
Because as soon as I shoot, I'm going to color up and leave. I'm not going to wait 2 hours for the damn dice.
Right, but you would agree, Ed, as an experienced player that you are on either side of the game, when the dice are coming to you, your eyes are on the dice, so you know exactly where you're gonna set your dice.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of people commenting lately about they can't track the dice. They don't, when they make a shot, they're unable to track the dice. Well, they're overcomplicating it when they do that. All they got to do is keep their eye on one dice and then listen for the call. If they're watching a dice and it turns up a 6 and the call is a 9, well, then the other dice had to be a 3.
Correct.
It's not complicated.
Yes.
It's not complicated. It's just not complicated.
But
you ain't got to watch both of them. Just watch one of them. Watch your left die or watch your right die. See what it lands and listen for the call. You'll know what your other dice was when they make the call.
I think that's an excellent tip, and Dylan, you laugh at that, but there are so many people that are frustrated. I don't know which was the right and the left eye. He's exactly right. I do it on my show. When I'm rolling out live, I get confused sometimes, and that adage is comes back to me now that Ed told me that like a year ago. But that's true. It is. But on your show, actually.
But on your show, Jeff, you're also running a show. Like I've run the dice too. Like I use different colored dice when I'm shooting for TV because I'm talking and you're doing your thing. And you're like, I'm not watching the damn dice when I'm trying to run a show. It's hard.
Well, yeah, you're wearing multiple hats. That's a completely different
like
thing.
6 of them.
If you're just a shooter and you're concentrating on what you're doing, you should concentrate on what you're doing.
Well, I can speak from experience. In Biloxi, Ed was to my right, and he knew what I was setting, and he would back up while I set the dice. So when I threw the dice, the stick man would call out the number, right? And then because I have a hearing problem, guys, believe it or not. And then Ed would be able to kind of not whisper, but kind of give me a hint as to what I did wrong. I had Mark at the opposite end of the table watching the dice in the air. Were they married? Were they coming apart? Was I splitting them with my thumb? There's all kinds of things that we could have a whole craps chat on that whole show. Probably more for a coffee and craps episode than it would be craps chat. But he's right. I mean, all you got to do is follow one die. That's it. So I think, let's see. Arnell put this up here. 16 people on a 15-foot is what Illinois casinos want. They think they can play on a larger table with the smaller tables are easier, in my opinion. I hate 16-foot tables, but
Chicago.
I don't. Listen to you. What are you talking about? We're going to Missouri next. I am going to put this up, guys, and I know you guys, I've got a couple texts that people want me to talk about my experience. I don't want to make it about this, but Duracell brings up a good point here. He says, how is the betting pace? And so with so many experienced players with AZ, any late betters? I don't want to say there were, I don't want to sound condescending or mean towards anybody. I've played with this group before, so I knew who the late betters were, and I knew the position that I was in. I'm going to leave it at this, Duracell, and I'm not trying to be smart when I say this. Maybe we'll talk tomorrow during the daytime. The players that were there on one end of the table, it was, you'll see it in the videos, it was done, we were waiting. On the other end of the table, it was continuous chaos. I shouldn't say continuous. It was chaos with a couple players, and it was hard for Big AZ to go over and actually try to ask those players to stop it. It's difficult when you're there for camaraderie and the sport and the game. So with that said, late bettors, yes. Experienced players, yes. So put the two together, and I don't want to sound condescending or mean towards any of those, because just a second ago, Dan DVD says he likes the way that I say craps is not supposed to be sprint, it's a marathon. I'm not the only one that says that. I heard it from somebody else. I wish I remember the first person I heard it from. All right. Anybody else got
Jeff,
any
can I ask you
comments?
I got a question
Sure.
about that for you. So,
Yep.
do you think the cause of that, right? So one side being chaos, whatever. When you get experienced players out there, we should all know better, yeah. But is part of that like you're with a big group and you're on the film and you want to like look the part? Are people trying to like overdo stuff to look the part and like play above their, not their skill level, but like trying to like, you know what I mean? Like is it for show? Some of that stuff that you think you saw, or they really play that way?
No, I think they play that way. I've played with them on and off camera, and you got your 44 inside players and you got your 220 inside players, and they played the same, whether they were experienced and knew the etiquette of the game at 44 or 220. It just seems like the same players I had played with before and that I've played with since I've been with them before seem to have that same issue. And we see it at an average table, guys. Let's not pick on the AZ Blue Ranch crew members, because each one of them were fantastic people. And for those of you that don't know, George from CY actually flew in from the island of Cyprus and surprised us at there. And I thought that was just outstanding that he came and was with this group of people that were there, because not everybody got to get on the camera. Not everybody got to play, but we played elsewhere. You know, we played various tables before. You know, I got to play with Craps Hawaii and Hawaii Crap Shooters, and that was a great time. I got to meet George from CY. So, you know, all these things are good things, but, you know, from a standpoint of the tables and the length, the late bets and the late betters, I don't think we're ever going to get rid of the inexperienced players or even the experienced players that don't know the proper payments. When they're paying a pass line bet, it's one way. When they're playing pace line bets, it's another way at most casinos. Yes, Vince?
I just wanted to throw in when George CY did visit Vegas, I was always awaiting feedback on George CY's how he's doing. Unfortunately, I heard he caught food poisoning, and his vacation pretty well ended the time he got there. So, just wanted to throw it in there.
Well, I understand that, and I wasn't gonna say that because I'm respecting George's his personal issue. He did get sick while he was there, but I was able. Fortunate for me, I'm humbled and honored. As you see him on his channel, John, you've talked to him. He's just probably one of the nicest guys you could ever talk to, and he loves this game. I mean, you know, he just loves it. Mm-hmm. But my prayers are with him
here in the States.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish he was closer to us, right? Instead of coming once a year. It'd be nice to see George more often. He's such a cool dude.
Yeah. And here's a question from Durso. We're kind of like on the same thing. I don't want to make it about me tonight, guys, please. Yeah. Sounds like the training of the players on pace and sequence of the betting. I tried to do that and explain why somebody puts a bet out and I'm pressing my 6 and 8, press my 6 and 8, and then the dealer's got to come back because he's got a motion. So I lean over and I say, there's a way that they pay, though he'll get to you. Well, I just didn't want him to see my bet. I don't want to leave it in the come area. And, you know, some players, they don't put it in the come area. They put it all over the place. So I do try to educate without trying to come off as being cocky or mad or condescending to them. And, you know, I wish they would leave the table, but, you know, I can't do that. So, you know, once again,
turn around and tell those guys, Jeff, to get their late bets in early.
Yes.
Just stop, set the dice down, look at them, and say, get your late bets in early. That ought to get the point across. You know, I mean, there's nothing more stupid than an experienced player trying to throw in late bets or hot bets, prop bets, and all that kind of stuff. because all they're doing is messing up the rhythm of the table and the shooter. It's ridiculous.
Well, what happens?
It's ridiculous
What
that,
happens
that
a
a
lot of times
so-called
is
experienced
these guys,
player does that, and I see it. I see it time after time after time, and it's ridiculous that they do that. And the other thing that you're so correct on is each casino. Now they've got a different order. Some will start in the turn and come around all the way to the stick. Some will start at the stick and they will go all the way around to the turn. That's how they have to, by their casino rules, they have to make their bets. It's not rocket science.
Order of payment.
And they're going to
it's
come
an order of payment.
There is a definite order that they have to keep their job. They have to go this way or they have to come this way. It's one of the two.
Yep.
And and people sit there and start throwing money out there just as soon as there's a point made or this or that. You got to wait on the dealers. You're just slowing the game down if you don't. The dealers have got to get it done. They want to get it done. They want to do it right.
No doubt about it. John, you had a comment?
Yeah, I was just going to piggyback on that. The dealers, they have that. They're going to go usually stick to base on the take move pay piece, right? And there's a certain order to do that. We know that from watching David, and then they come back. So it isn't like they take all the losers, they move all the comes and DCs, and they pay the winners, and that's when you make your bets. And just freaking be ready. Like know what your bet pays, have your money ready to go, and just
practice like
you gotta know when it's coming back to you.
Baby.
I say all the time when I'm here in my studio every day, I literally practice putting my next little whatever out and saying the words. So I'm quick. Like I don't mess around with the bets. I don't want to be that guy, number one, because I know that they got 6 other people behind me that are going to be that guy. So at the very least, the notes they write for me, Vince, are going to be like, that's a nice guy.
Hold on one, Vince. I'm going to put 2 more comments up here, and then I'm going to go to Craig and both Vinces for comments on this. James Newberry says, never instruct players at a bad move. Well, there's a difference between bad play with your chips versus a bad move when you're betting out of order. And the topic we're talking about is betting out of order. And Dustin says player in number 1 gets paid first, as should the better sequence. However, some casinos pay the pass line one way and the place bets boxes another way. So with that said, Vince, Canadian Vince, you had something?
I was just looking over at Dice DJ and I thought he was like passed out. I was going to tell somebody to give him a nudge, but then I noticed he moved, so I'm good.
No, trust me, we're talking. So you don't see it behind the scenes. Chris and I are talking. Craig, what is your experience with the late bettors and the people that pay expect to be paid differently?
I've actually I've said out loud, not too directly to the person, but I've said out loud at a table because I'm normally by the stick person, and I'm like, the stick person will get to you in just a second. I promise. He's gonna work their way around, he or she. I've actually seen the pit boss actually say something as well. If the dealer, because the dealer may be over here dealing with box payouts and not see the person, maybe it's stick right one wanting to make his new prop bet or his new bet on a place number. I've even seen people not be impatient about their pass line. Like, she's going to get to you. She's just paying. She's going around the horn there, going around the hook. Just be patient. My biggest thing is and this just goes with etiquette, is I cannot stand it when dealers allow somebody to buy in during play.
That's a whole nother topic.
I hate that. I will do a stern
Nothing
look.
worse.
I'll take my dice and I'll slam them back down and I'll say, "Are you serious?" And they don't care. But I'm just amazed that dealers don't more often tell somebody, "Please wait, the puck is on."
Well, 1 second, Vince. We'll come right to you.
If you have chips, that's different.
Craig, here's a story. Here's a story that you probably heard in the trip report from Ed and me, but I was shooting and on a decent roll, and we had a guy all the way in the rear hook right buy in, and Clay, Mark, and another gentleman, after he didn't take a bet, fussed at him. I picked the dice up and set them down twice because of the argument. And the guy said, "You can't tell me what to do." And one of the two of them said, "Well, you just need to leave the table." As he left the table, he said, "You can't tell me what to do." And Clay hollered out, "I just did," as he walked away from the table. So I think Ed remembers that one. That might have been one we left out.
Yeah, I mean, you're leaving the fun part out, because when he dropped his money in and he got his chips, both of them looked at him and said, "Where's your bet? Aren't you going to bet?" And he said, "No, I don't have to bet." And he said, "Well, you just bought in like you're going to make a bet. We want to see you bet. So you're going to bet before anybody throws the dice."
Yep. I'm going to put this up here.
They worked him off the table.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this up here for they did. They just completely, and Clay, one of them said, we just made you do whatever you're going to do. He said, "You can't make me do something," and around the table they went. So
here's a good question for. We got a great bit of experienced players here on our panel. So what do you do? You're the shooter. And what do you do when there's a major disruption at the table and you've got the dice coming to you? What do each of you do? Jeff, what do you do?
I put the dice down. I've actually picked them up and set them down, and I look at the box if there's a box there, and I say something. And as you know, I'm pretty close to the stick. I say, "Can you do something about that?" Typically the stick reaches over, grabs the dice, and pulls them back into the middle while it's being settled down. Don't know if I answered your question. Looks like by your expression I didn't.
Kind of. It's like, what do you do to get yourself back in the rhythm, I guess, is what I'm asking. Because you've been taken totally out of rhythm, and all of a sudden, the dice, there's been an argument over a $1 horn bet or something. There's been some kind of stupid argument.
Okay.
It is.
There's something going on that's totally taking, there's late bets coming in or whatever. Something's taking you out of rhythm.
I haven't done what Chiro's done before. But I've actually, I'll turn my bets off, and the very next roll, I'll bake and shake and bake. I'll just chuck them.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that because I'm playing with mostly experienced players. Here you go, Ed. I put the dice down.
Dylan's got the glasses on up there. Let's see what Dylan.
Well, hold it. This is what I do. I put the dice down. I get straight back up. I take my breath back in. I get back at my stance, and I reset everything over again. That's what I do. I don't know if that's the answer. Dylan, what's yours answer?
Well, I'm John and I kind of had this text situation brought up between him and I told him in text form that if that situation arises, I just do a mental reset. And what I mean is I reevaluate the table as if, if I'm taken out and I have to clear my thoughts for like just a second and pause, and I just start to reevaluate it. Is the bets up there? Am I comfortable with my bets the way they are? And normally I would say no. And so if I'm going to say no, I'm going to restart. I'm going to go back to whether the 6 and 8 or the insides were pressed up to the moon or whatever. I'm going to go back to a comfort level that if the 7 is rolled in the next roll, that's what I ask myself. Am I comfortable with the 7 or whatever can hurt me? Am I comfortable with that if that's going to happen next roll? And if I say no to myself on the evaluation, then I reevaluate my bets and make them where I'm okay with the worst case scenario, whatever the worst case scenario is. And so that's how I approach it, because I just say, this is taking me out of my game. I have it's a new fresh approach. And if my bets are too high, then I'm not comfortable with that. Then I just reevaluate the whole process and go to a level where I'm comfortable at with whatever the worst case scenario is, if that worst case scenario happens. That's how I do it.
I like that. Who else? I'm taking over your role as moderator here all of a sudden.
That's all right.
All good, Ed. No.
Yeah, all good.
I don't
I'd
think
rather
it
produce.
Go, Chris.
Yep.
What I do is so wherever I'm shooting from, I motion to the stick to take the dice back, bring them back to the center of the table. Jeff seen me do it. Craig seen me do it. A couple people in chat have seen me do it. And then I actually turn away from the table, take like 3 or 4 steps, and like recenter myself, and then turn back around to the table. And as I'm getting close to the table, I'll like give them a wave to give me the dice back, and then I'll go on my shot. But I don't know. There's something about me like turning away from the table and like recentering myself and then getting back to the table. That's what I do most of the time, and these guys have seen me do it before.
It's going to happen to all of us numerous times during a trip or whatever, you know. So that's why I'm asking. This is a good question, I think. Who else?
Yeah, I'm not good enough for it to matter yet, but
there you are.
I do what Chris does. And I'll tell you what the guys do, at least most times when there's a disruption, like somebody's arguing, like you're saying, the stick pulls the dice back almost they just do it anyway. They kind of stop the game, let the box deal with it. And during that time, like Skill says, I'll tinker with my chips a little bit. I'll make sure my bets are where I want them. And I just kind of wait for and then they come back and I'm back in rhythm again. I try not to let it bother. Although, to what Craig said, if I feel like I got that jitter, like the adrenaline, like when I was in Philly, those 2 guys almost got in a fight, and it was like legit 2 big freaking dudes about to go to fists. My adrenaline was ramped because there was a guy right next to me. If I was shooting in that circumstance, I probably would have passed the dice because I was like here. There's no way I could have made a good shot. No way I could have made a shot. I might have passed the dice because the guy next to me did pass the dice actually, but there's no way you can make a shot when you're that ramped up. And it was like holding back a 6 foot, bigger than Jeff guy from the fight. So,
what you saying?
Small
Willis?
distraction. I'm just saying, dude. If it was, imagine you swearing at each other, and one of you had muscles. Like that's what it was. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't know if I can make a shot. I couldn't pull a shot off after that. But normal stuff, I think. I just get back in rhythm.
You said
I just get back in rhythm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but
I just get back in rhythm.
Ed, your question has provoked. Hold on one second, Vince. Your question has provoked a lot of conversation in the chat. I can't display it all, but it's a very good question. It's probably the best question of the night. Go ahead, Vince from Canada.
Ed, I'll tell you something. If I went into the casino and you were shooting and you had the dice and I noticed all the hype going on at your table, I would do my best to get on a spot right away. And as soon as I see one guy open up a spot, or sometimes I squeeze in there, I address the dealer on my side of the table. That's the only guy I need to talk to. I don't need to worry about the shooter. I don't need to worry about the box man. I don't need to worry about the stick. What I do, I don't even worry about the no call bets that's listed on the table. There's 99% of the tables have no call bets. I'm right in there. I squeeze in there. What I do for etiquette, I take my money and I put it right on my chip stack. And I tell the dealer that I'm talking to right next to me. That's the only guy I talk to. I say, give me like 110 inside or give me 160 across, and he'll book it. All he has to do is say bet, and it won't even bother the shooter. And I'm in the game because he knows my money's right there. He can collect my money later. So I know sometimes it's kind of like a late bet, but it's innocent because I'm talking to the dealer and I'm not distracting the shooter in any way, shape, or form.
But that really wasn't the scenario.
It really wasn't a scenario, but yeah. So here's an idea. I mean, because it happens to all of us. First thing, I don't pick up the dice. Once I pick up the dice, I'm semi-committed to making a toss. So I don't pick up the dice. I just let them sit there. They can sit there until they crumble into powder for all I care. Then I'll reach into my chip rack and I look at it. I look at the stick man. I might make a prop bet for the dealers. I might put the dealers on the hard way. I'll make a bet just as if the dice, and then when I do that, he'll pull the dice back into the center of the table. Right? So when you're the shooter and you haven't touched the dice, as soon as you make your own late bet because you're trying to calm everything down and you're trying to get back into your own groove, then you can go ahead and go, okay, here's a dealer bet on the hard ways, or a two-way hard way bet, or something like that. and then you throw it, and they love you. You know, but it's a way to get yourself back in the groove. Tell the box person, hey, I need to make a dealer bet real quick. Give me a sec. And reach in your chips, kind of fumble through, kind of get your mind kind of reset, kind of like Dylan was talking about, get everything back in the flow. All that argument down there is over with. Then you come back out and you make a couple of, you know, small dealer bets. Now bring me the dice. You're back in the groove. You're in control because you're the shooter. Believe it or not, you as a shooter have control.
No, I completely agree with you.
Colonel Power, did you have anything to add?
Yeah.
Well, same thing as I like doing what Chris does there, and just send them back to the middle, take a step away, relax, take a sip of coffee, something like that, just to calm me down. Get back, approach, and then shoot. But then also, too, is one thing that does annoy me about the casinos up here where I live is that the one doesn't let me dice set, but the other one does. But they both let you buy in the middle of the roll, and they're like, the dealer's like, "Do you want to come in and buy in?" I'm like, "No, I'll wait."
All right.
If the money
Anybody
hits the
else?
fails, they got to count it. If the money hits the fail, they got to count it. They don't have a choice.
Oh yeah, yeah. I agree with
no,
you on that part.
Now,
I was just saying the dealers were soliciting me to buy in.
Yeah, a lot of good casinos will rack the money and rake it to the center of the table, and then they'll act as if that never happened, and then they'll just go, this guy doesn't get the bet right now. You know, they're not going to wait to color him his money out the chips. They'll go ahead and get the game flowing. Whatever's going on the inside there, counting the money is a different thing. But anyway, thank y'all for answering my question. I was curious.
Yeah, good, great question.
Yeah, the people in Zoom are still here. I'm just waiting for somebody to join before I put the screen back up. We do have another question here. I may have missed one. John, Chris, correct me if I did. It just did pop up here. This comes from Mike, the 85 Bears. There's two of them. You want to back up?
Yeah, there's
back up. Go
but
ahead.
Gypsy's got one too. Yeah, Gypsy has one for about the 6 and 8.
How long ago, John?
Just
if you know the question, go ahead and ask it, John.
It says,
I missed it.
if, say, you had a $30 place bet on the 8 and the 8 hits, you want to press it. Do you tell the dealer before he pays you or wait till everyone else gets paid on the 8 and then ask to press? That's the question. So it's about order of operations.
Okay.
It's real tables. Real tables. It's press. Just say press. It's just an automatic thing dealers do on the real tables.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the casinos here will ask you.
It's when they come back in.
The dealer,
casinos here, they'll actually ask you, you want to say better, or do you want to press it, or whatever?
Yeah.
Because they follow a color. They follow colors on the chips, not amounts. So when you say press, they automatically know what color to give you right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the dealers have the order of operation and they will address each player, and then they will ask that player, "What do you want to do?" You know, or what, you know, if the player doesn't initiate when they know that it's their turn, if the player doesn't know it's their turn, the dealer will initiate that on their turn and ask them, you know, "What do you want to do?" or what have you, or you know, and they'll make contact with that player, and I mean that player, so you won't get bypassed. You know, so you don't have to have that fear. You don't have to have that fear ever. You know, they'll give you
just know when it's coming to you and be ready for it. Yeah, just know when it's coming to you and just be ready.
If you can be ready for it, and you know where your bets are, and you know where your bets are placed in the box or wherever, then that makes a big world of difference of you know, educating yourself of the order of operations. So it's all
I would say be ready. Like if you're going to go from 30 to 42, drop your $2 and say looks like 42. So they're going to take the 10 and your 2 and give you back a quarter. Know that ahead of time. Like practice that on your own, so you're ready for that. And they know, oh, he's dropping $2. He must want to go to 42. Done.
But
right? Make that easy for them. They love that. Yeah.
I actually think that John and Jeff actually answered a similar question like that many craps chats ago about know your bets to at least a certain amount. So that because I think it was you, Jeff, talking about when you get paid and it doesn't look right, don't pick up the chips. Know your bets and know what they're going to win.
Yeah. What I do, Craig, is if I think it's wrong and I picked it up, I don't pass my chip rail. I set it back down. I set them back and spread them out. Just so that they can see that I may have a problem with the count. And for the most part, I'm wrong, but there have been some times when they're wrong.
Another thing is like what John was just saying, though. But if you're trying to do 15 for 1 on a $12 6 or 8 or whatever, if you don't drop that dollar down quick, that dealer is trying to hurry as quick as he can, and so he's
already paid you 14.
He's already paid you 14. Yep. So you've got to, if you're doing same bet or whatever, and your time is fine, and you want the same bet or whatever, that's fine. But if you want to throw that dollar out there to have 15 for, we have one for 15, then you need to put it out there a little bit ahead of time, and before the end of the next player that he's prepaying, or that he's already paid, and it's your turn. Then throw that dollar down there just a little bit ahead of time, so that dealer knows, because they're not going to color you up. They're not going to give you. They're not going to say. They're going to give you 14. They're not going to give you. Mm-hmm. They're not going to wait for you to throw down a dollar. They're not going to wait. They're just not going to wait. So if you want to do that, you have to be assertive and throw that down a little bit ahead of time, so that they understand, because they know the difference between 14 and 15. Believe me, So and little things like that. If you want to color up like that, you've got to be assertive and do that just a little bit ahead of time, so that that the dealer will have that mindset.
No,
yes, and then he can do the order of operations even more efficient.
Correct. Yeah. Vince, I see your hands up. Let me tell everybody. I see some questions queued up. A couple of you get a little agitated because I don't get to your questions, but I'm going to get to them. So just stand by. Vince, what do you say?
Yeah, I had a busy Friday, Saturday night. Exactly. Just an extension to skill and luck, what he just mentioned. If you're playing a $10 table and you're dropping that dollar, you're going to expect to get 15 for 1. If it's a $15 table and you drop that dollar, well, you're going to expect that the 5 or the 9 is going to get pressed up to a quarter. It's just automatic standard calls, standard procedures.
I was just going to add on to that with Dylan and Vince. Sometimes I've let the dealer know what I'm playing, and based on what I'm playing, they kind of know what to ask from me if something hits. They'll be like, okay, drop 3, and I'll drop 3, and they kind of know what I'm playing. And other dealers, smart dealers, they're smart. Some dealers will catch on to what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you got a system and you're playing the same system repeatedly like that, then the dealers will catch on. Doesn't matter which dealer it is, they will catch on to what you're doing, and they'll work with you. So that's exactly. That's not,
and even when the dealers switch, they'll say, okay, this guy's playing this, he's gonna, blah blah blah.
Because they'll rotate. The one dealer become the stick person and whatnot. No, they got their little order of rotation as well. And the stick person can help the new dealer that came off break, and help out. I've seen that 1,000 times.
Yeah. I had it happen this past week where I was paying 5 for 75 dialing on a $50 or $60 bet, and then I got distracted talking to somebody, and the dealer picked up the 3 greens, and he didn't holler at me, but he said, nickel for 75. Oh yeah, and I had, so he knew what I was already doing. He wasn't paying me the 70. He knew I was doing 75 for 5.
Yep.
All right. Let's move on to this question. This probably will just take a couple seconds for us to answer. This is from the 85 Bears. Mike, has anyone on the panel, after a 7-out, had the dice completely go around the table so that the dice are back at you without anyone throwing the dice? I have had that happen a few times. Never seen it around the table. I've seen the dice pass and be passed, but not on a 7-out. Anybody else?
One answer. One answer. All I got to say is Sue right there. That's it. That's your answer, Sue.
Yep, Vince.
That's an exception to the rule.
The American Vince.
I've actually not happened to me, but I've actually done it because the guy next to me was shooting so hot. I'm like, they passed around to me. I'm like, nope, just go right next door.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
While we're waiting
This
on
happened
that,
this weekend, Jeff. Yeah, this weekend, Jennifer, the Justice Jen, and I played together here in Washington, and we were shooting the freaking lights out, and everybody passed it back to us. So I'd 7 out, it would go the other guy, he'd pass, right back to Jennifer. She'd shoot, come to me. After my 7 out, pass, and it would me and her just shot back to back for like an hour.
Wow, that would never
Smart
happen.
It was really
That's a smart table
it was
right there.
cool.
That's a smart table, but
It was
that would
pretty
not
good.
happen in St. Louis. I tell you that. That would not happen in St. Louis. People love to shoot. I'm serious.
Oh man,
That would
these
not
guys were
happen in St.
loving
Louis.
scooping the money up. I tell you what, they were scooping up
Yeah.
some money, and they were happy with us. So it was all good.
Oh, I'm sure. But
So yeah.
anyone else want to chime in on this?
I've had to ask people to go ahead and shoot the dice one time so I could rest my arm.
Yep.
I mean, it's serious. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, you think I'm joking or making fun of it, but it's like, you know, the question was, have you ever had it happen? I've had it happen a lot, especially on a very, you know, a table with maybe you've only got like 2 other people on it, and they're just like, nah, pass it.
I have seen that.
I'll shoot till my arm's tired, then I'll say, I need you to shoot for a minute just so I can rest. You know.
All right. I'm going to get to this.
Happen.
I'm going to get to this question next. It comes from Chris from Texas Dicer. You asked an original question, something about that I asked earlier, and I don't know if this is it or not, Chris, but this question, and I'll come back to yours after this, Dustin, is if you say you are 160 across and want to regress after a win to 66, when is the appropriate time to tell the dealers? When I do that, I actually say it's 160 across on 2 hits, I'm coming down to 66, and then it might take five rolls before that happens if I'm lucky not to be 7 out, and then they know exactly what I'm going to do. Or on an inexperienced dealer, what I do is I already have the 66 stacked up in my hand, and I say, take all my bets down, put this up. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's what I do.
yeah,
That's
that's
the way to
fine.
do it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Make the dealer's job easy. Like if
Yeah.
you can,
Yeah, I've
try to
told
make
them
their
that
job
too,
as
Jeff.
easy as
Good
possible.
call.
Something like that, Jeff, or even going back to the pressing thing. Like if you have a $30 6 and you're going to 42, drop the $2 out of your rack and boom, it's the 42. He's going to hand you a quarter, or she's going to hand you a quarter. And if you don't have the $2, all right, fine, but don't just sit there and be like, nah, take it to 42 and make them cut out that quarter. If you have the $2, drop it.
Boom, drop it. Yep.
Exactly.
Drop it. Did that all the time. Yep. I'm going to put this up here just from Buckeye. He says, this is why strategies are important. You know what your next move is. Beefier the dice even roll. I'm not sure what that word is, but okay, I think it's beefier. But Buckeye, you probably missed the beginning of the show. I'm going to have a video coming out in a little while about strategies, and probably going to lose some subscribers over it. But I'm going to release something right there. There's a little hint for you. Let's go back to where's Dustin's question. I saw it here somewhere. We've had so many come in. John, can you get to the question that Dustin asked before I do?
I've got it, Jeff, if you need it.
Go ahead and start reading it while I try to find it. And not the one about 92-year-olds and the wedding parties.
Yeah, I got you. Dustin said, I was wondering if anyone has heard of the party hedge system and the birth of the Bard 12.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
No.
I
Never
no
heard
to
of
both
it.
of those. But that's no to both of those.
Me either.
I did for the first time see a bar 2 on the Don't Pass, and I'm not
That's
sure
cool.
exactly which downtown casino it was. It wasn't the bar 12; it was the bar 2, the Aces, bar of the Aces. As the first I've heard of it, but never saw it. Here it is. There's the question. There's the question that Dustin asked. So I don't know what the party hedge system is, and I don't know anything about the birth of the bar 12. I don't know. Anybody on the panel know?
Nope.
I'm reading a post about it right now that's on Heavy's forum. So,
Okay.
or Frank Scavletti, so I don't know what it is. Never heard of it.
Okay. All right,
Must have
Buckeyes.
taken
I
it
was
from
gonna add
Frank's
on to you,
book.
Jeff. The first time I saw Bar of the Aces was on Crapsy.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because it gives you
it's
the
a-
ability to bar the aces on the setup. I believe
Oh
it
my
does.
God, look at
Right.
this thing.
Yeah.
When I was a truck driver, I mean, I'm still a truck driver, but when I was across the country, you know, for all over the lower 48, you know, Reno is the one that has the bar, the 2, you know, and they're the only ones That's the only section of the whole lower 48 that I know of that has that. Everywhere else everywhere else that I went, it's always bar 12, which is quote unquote standard. But Reno is Reno was the exception to the rule.
Reno also takes your don't pass bets behind the numbers. You know that? When you play the don't pass in Reno, when the point gets set, they take your don't pass bet and they move it behind the number. So it's
you can't take it down
completely. So you can take it down, but you got to ask for it. They're managing your bet for you now, but you have to ask for it. But yeah, they get it out of the way. I'm not sure why they do. I probably should ask the guy why they did that, but that's weird.
Yeah, well, Miguel just piped up here and said that he's heard, I think it's either the parity or the party head system. Parity head system. I actually got an opportunity to play. I got an opportunity to play with Miguel, and although at the roll to win table he was to my left, and he was doing a certain lot of hoppings, because on the roll to win you can see the little, the lines go out there. People were betting, and then I got to play with him down there at the plaza, and he turned a nice bankroll into a pretty sized bankroll, a smaller bankroll into a nice sized bankroll before I left that night. I left with Kent before they finished playing. Guys, if you got a question, because we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, please put a capital Q. Better yet, if you could put my name or Mac in it, my system will colorize that and I'll be able to see it. We've got a great panel here. I know it's getting late for some of us that are on the East Coast versus some people on the West Coast or in the Midwest. So, yes, Vince, from all the way from Canada.
I have all these. I know it's great to be on this panel with the U.S. people. It's really a cool international thing. So my question is, for all the dice setters, DIs, how come you guys never talk about your foot, like your feet? Because I know when it comes to any kind of hand motions and stuff, having your foot against something really stabilizes your hand, your arm movement, by having your foot against something. Nobody really mentions that, though, and that's my question.
Well, let me just, I'm going to jump in real quick, because I just rolled with Jeff recently, and I don't know, Jeff, if you saw me do it, because I know that we were kind of alternating when we were shooting.
Yes.
But I had to stand on my tiptoes in order to get a better, straighter arm so that I could toss. But I do that to stabilize myself. I'll have my one hand on the rail, and I'll go on my tiptoes to give myself a straighter arm, longer reach, I guess.
Yeah, I actually opened my hips. Yeah, I actually opened my hips. So I throw the different toss than y'all do. So for me, I bury a foot under the table and have one foot opened up all the way. Almost like
that's your damn problem.
Like I'm pulling it back. So, yeah. Well, the thing is, but what that does is that clears my arm to be able to make the shot. Instead of having to lean over the table like you all do, I can lean back and have my arm free. So that's the way that shot works for me. So I can get very comfortable with one foot.
You said that before, John, because you said you have such pain in your arm. You can't be,
my right.
Like most dice setters, they might lock their wrist, which causes pain over time, I guess. But I guess the same for you with your shoulder.
Well, I plant my feet in the same spot with the space between them. I lean into the table. I reach across the dice. I set the dice. I aim the dice, or you want to call it turning my hand, because for those of you that know, I only throw with 2 fingers. And I look at my landing zone, breathe in. When I breathe out, I release the dice, and I'm steady the whole time. And I try to remember, just like in bowling, when you're bowling with a follow-through, I try to get my hand so that it comes straight out. It's all about the rhythmic side of it, of being just the same rhythmic type dice setter. Whether you believe in the DI or not, it's totally up to you. But however you throw the dice, whether you pick them up in your hand and roll them around, blow on them, spool them against the back wall, whatever you do, and chunk them. Most people do the same thing most of the time. That's how they throw the dice, random or otherwise.
Well, to answer Vince's question, from my standpoint, people know I talk about your stance. I talk about where your left arm is. If you're sitting there and you're propping up on your elbow, you're not going to throw worth of shit. You're just not. You've got to lock yourself in. You've got to brace yourself up against the table. And if you've ever played with me, you know that I don't ever move. I'm so stiff by the time, my body is so stiff by the time I get through tossing a long hand that I can hardly move because I'm getting old. But it depends on where you're at. If I'm down in the hook, I'm pulled up right up against the table. I've got my hip and my left thigh right up against the drink rail. I'm reaching across. I tell the guy out there on straight out, I'm not stealing your chips. I'm going to prop my arm right up here on the edge, and I'm going to get way out here, and I'm going to lean over the table. And I don't ever move. I never move. You've got to be, once you're in that groove or once you're in that zone, you don't move. I don't.
I agree. I agree.
Now,
I try not.
There's occasions where there's a lot of crap maybe going on in other places. I'll step back, hold my hand where it was, just so I know where I was. I'll look at the TV screen until they're ready to pass me the dice, and then I'm right back in. But you've got to get in the same position every time if you're on a good roll.
Colonel Potter, that Vince. Do you set the dice or do you random roll them, Vince?
I generally do set them, and if I'm shooting from straight out, I just lean over and I can throw straight on. But if I'm shooting on the side there, I will lean over and stick my foot out and shoot them that way.
All right, Chris. I know how you shoot. You want to explain your posture when you shoot girlfriend Dejan away from the table when you're shooting? Because you're just mean. That's all I got to say.
No, she knows not to be near me when I'm shooting.
That's what I said.
I actually shoot off 1 foot, but it's a stable 1 foot. So my right foot is planted perpendicular to the table, and then my left foot is on the toe. So it's up in the air, and I'm on my toe, and I'm leaning. I lock in kind of like Ed's saying, so my left hand is on the table, keeping me firm, but my shoulders are parallel. They're not, cockeyed or anything. And the reason I do that is from volleyball. So when I would serve a volleyball with my jump top serve, I'd always start that way, and it set me up to stay square to the net so I could do what I needed to do to get my serve in and then move the ball how I needed to move it. So it kept me square that way. So I've kind of kept that with me to this day. When I shoot with both my feet firmly planted on the ground, I seem to, from stick left anyway, I seem to always throw into the corner, and it usually becomes a bad result. So for some reason, I like off the 1 foot with my left toe planted on the ground, and then keep my shoulders square. And no girlfriend Dejan around. She's usually talking to somebody else.
Oh, she's talking to me because I can't believe you shoo her away. Go ahead, Vince. I'm sorry. I talked over you. What'd you say, Vince?
I was just talking over you, too. Go play slots. I'm shooting the dice.
No, she's actually very interested in the game, and I think that she wants to play at times. And Chris has actually left the table a few times, and actually she's monitored his bets and actually made some good moves.
Oh, she knows what I'm doing.
Yeah, she knows what he's doing.
She knows.
So
I'll gladly let her bet for me. If I have to go run to the bathroom or whatever, I tell her what I want, and she knows exactly what to do. Because she'll be down here playing with me and stuff, and it's not that I don't like her next to me. She doesn't like. She doesn't like being next to me. I'm just gonna gloss right over that one. No, she doesn't like being next to me because then she doesn't want to She feels like she's the reason I threw a 7, and I'm like, you're not the reason I threw a 7. But yeah, she usually goes away so I can kind of concentrate.
I think you tell her she's the reason why you threw the 7. I think that's why she walks away. I'm kidding, just kidding. All right, guys, let's hit this question here from James Newberry as we cross the 2-hour mark here. Real quick, we'll take maybe 60 seconds per person. A question from James. Can the panel tell us about their betting strategies? I'm going to start. I'm going to take it to Ed, then we're going to go around. Me, I've gone from a trend betting, from an awful better to a trend betting light-sided, and when I'm not doing that, I'm playing the hybrid dark while I'm waiting to figure out, what shooter I'm going to bet on when it comes around the table the next time. So my betting strategies have changed over the last 6 to 8 months for the good, and it's that man right down there that's helped me. So Ed, tell us about your strategies, Ed. I know what this answer is.
I don't have a strategy.
Boom.
I have a game plan. I have a game plan, and that's the best way to put it. You go, for me, I go to the casino, I'm driving 5 hours to get there. and I'm going to spend 2 days or a day and a half and a night there, 2 nights there. And so all the way, I'm thinking about what's going to be my game plan. What's my game plan? I'm in the huddle. I'm talking to myself all the way down there. I'm looking for certain numbers. How am I going to play those numbers when they roll? I'm not going to sit there and play a hybrid strategy or this or that. I know up front what I'm going to do on the random throwers that are out there on the drunks, the Friday night and Saturday night drunks. I know what I'm going to do on them. The question is how many odds do I put on the don't come? That's the only question. That depends on how the hand's going. So for me, it's a game plan, not a strategy, because you've got to know how you're going to bet when you get there, and then how you're going to react to getting what you don't expect. You know, you're going to get in a hand and you're not getting what you expect. Are you going to stay to your stupid strategy, Ed, or are you going to go and are you going to change your bets to come out with a winner, hopefully, on what you're throwing? You know, I know what I'm going to do on the Randies. That's easy. What I'm going to do on myself is the hard part.
Gotcha. Let's go to the 66 sizzle strategy guy there. Craig, Old Bay Craps.
I used to be just a 66 inside to 110, back to 66 inside, and just keep alternating when I shoot on myself. And then around the table, I will do a DP and try to do up to 3 DC bets with 1 or 2 times odds. That seems to work. And then I have yet to try the 66 sizzle at a casino yet.
All right.
So
good
I'm
answer.
excited to.
Vince, the American Vince, the Colonel Potter himself.
For me, I generally on myself, I'll bet out all the way across and play most. But if not, I go. To be honest, I play the Iron Cross on there, and I'll see how they do.
All right, somebody take the moderation for a second. My headset's died.
All right, Chris, let's hear from Chris.
Go ahead and move on to the next
I do a lot
person.
of different things. I don't play the same way a lot. I go light on some people. If they show me that they can shoot, I'll go light on them. I'm probably dark. That's what I do. On myself, I keep it actually really simple. Very, very simple bets on myself because I don't want to focus on what I need to do to bet. I just want to focus on shooting. So there's been times where I haven't even bothered to press half the time, and I've kicked myself afterwards. So, but it's usually light, some sort of hybrid, or dark on most people, unless you can show me you can shoot.
That's going to lead us into the next question. So, who else wanted to answer? I kind of had to switch headsets. Did Vince answer? Vince, you, Mr. Strategy person himself, the guru of all gurus of crap strategies.
Hey, I'm always pre-qualifying strategies, but it all boils down to one thing, and I agree with Ed on this. When we go to the casinos, most of us will always have a strategy to start with, whether it's an Iron Cross or a Route 66, starting with 66 inside, drop $1, take the 5 and 9 to a quarter, drop 3, take the 6 and 8 to 30 each. But you know, the trend of the table, when the table gets hot, strategies go out the window. It's like, give me the freaking, put $100 on a 9 because this guy's rolling 9s out the wazoo. It's like strategies go out the window when you follow the table trends. That's what it all boils down to.
Wow.
Table trends.
That's what you should do. Yes.
Yeah. No, that's actually going to lead us into the next question. Vince, I'm actually surprised. Sorry, I was getting ready to set up my next set of headsets because I'm having audio problems. I'm actually surprised to hear you say that. John, the strategy tester.
Yeah, I'm the strategy. Right. I am super simple, man. I like 2 rolls and out. Like, I want to play hard. I want to go to the freaking ceiling. And just like Ed, whatever's hitting, I have a way that I play the numbers that are hitting. I have a system that I do on the 5 and 9, the 4 and 10, the 6. You know how I do it. And if they're hitting, they're going to make me money. But my thing is I get to where I can play that way pretty quick. I employ a strategy where I can get down to whatever it's going to be cross or inside in a couple of hits. I don't like having my money out. I don't like I said, I'm not going to be 110 or 160 across or 320 across for more than a roll or two. And then I'm into my thing. So I'm a three-phase guy. You all should know that by now.
All right, Dylan.
Yeah. Well, I'm agreeing with almost everything here. I'm like, I want to do the 2 hits and regress and then do my half press and then follow the trend of half pressing with whatever's hitting. Those cluster numbers, and I think that way it flows, and I capitalize on collecting and pressing at the same time, and so that's a winning thing that works for me that I found in the long run. So I basically keep to that, grab 2 hits and then regress and then do my half press and it works.
All right, so that's the strategy question. I hope we answered. I forgot who asked the question, but I hope James, I believe, answered that. So let's move on to this question. It may be the final question of the night, but we'll have to see. This is probably going to spark some type of debate for the next 20 minutes or so. So, question from Arnell at Dice Grinders, who runs live fantasy craps right here on CGTV and on his own YouTube channel. Like and subscribe for that. Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. How's that a plug for you, Arnell? So, would you guys bet on others that you see doing the repeating ritual that seems to be getting good rolls no matter how they toss? I don't know if that's the explanation of qualifying a shooter, repeating coming around. I would say yes to that, Arnell. I don't know that, if I don't know them. Here lately I've been shooting with, playing with people I do know. At the table at the casino where I stayed on the trip, obviously I got to know some people and I trusted them. So I'm going to have to say, Bing, yes gets the answer from Jeff. Let's go to Chris Dice Dejan.
Yeah, I would say that if you can prove to me that you can shoot, I'll bet on you. Otherwise, I won't. So, if it's your ritual that makes you shoot well, if it's whatever, as long as I see consistency in your toss, your landing zone, what the dice are doing, I'm good for it. I don't want to see like you take the dice, flick them up against the back wall 40 times, blow on them a little bit and huck them. I don't count that as a ritual. Some people do, but like if you're consistent with what you're doing and you're getting good numbers that I can bet on, good for me. I'm betting.
All right, Craig, Old Bay Craps.
At my local, I actually saw a guy who would sit there and just keep setting dice for 30 seconds plus, but he hit 6 straight points, and that was fine by me. I was like, because I saw around the table some of the looks that the guy was getting, and people were like rolling their eyes, and I'm like, yeah, but do you realize he just hit his 3rd point? Like, I bet with him, and it was a good night.
All right. I'm going to save the Canadian Vince for last on this question. Vince, Colonel Potter.
The same thing is, yeah, I do agree with you on that, Jeff. As long as I see someone doing the same thing consistently, and kind of like Chris says, they can prove that they can hit numbers and make me some money, I'm good to go.
All right, Dylan.
Consistency is king. That's what happens. Yeah, you can catch up with
it. All right, John. I muted the Zoom call audio just for a second, guys. John.
I'm going to answer a question with a question. Can you qualify a shooter? Because if somebody's throwing completely randomly and they happen to be on a heater, you can't qualify them. They aren't doing anything to make that happen. It's just luck of the stroke, right? Yeah, I'll bet with that, right? If the trend is what the trend is, I come bet a lot of times on random because I know that I'm going to make my money in the short term. But yeah, can you qualify? It's like Chris said, they're shooting good. If somebody's just hucking them and chucking them, they aren't shooting good, right? There's no being good as a random shooter. You're lucky as a random shooter. That's how I look at that. So for me, that's the answer. If they're doing good, my bets will pay, and I'll take the win for what it is. But I'm not going to go after them. I'll go after Ed. I'll go after Jeff. I'll go after Chris. I'm not going after Randy, who's got 4 9s, because Randy got lucky. Right. That's how I feel about it.
Let's go down to Ed, and I think I know this answer, but he may surprise me because I watched him I watched him bet on somebody that that neither one of us had any faith on, and the guy seemed to. We won money on that hand, Ed. I don't know if you remember which one it was, but anyway, go ahead, Ed.
That was a long week. I don't remember all of them, but it was probably at the Hard Rock. It's a trick question because for me, all right, so if I haven't seen them thrown first, I'm going to do a don't pass off, right off the bat. And I'll do a one hit, can't miss 6 and 8 if they hit the point 6 and 8, or if I go, oh, they're setting the dice and they hit a decent spot and they threw a good number, I'll still do one hit, can't miss, and then I'll watch them. If they knock my don't pass off, I'm still up. I've got the opportunity then to come down on a hit. I can't lose on the shooter. I mean, all I need is one hit. There's another old saying, I'll bet 6 and 8 on anybody. And, I'm guilty of that too. But, how many hands have we've all seen hands where, they set the point at 6 and they never throw a 6 or 8. And they'll throw 20 times. They'll throw 20 times and never throw another 6 or 8. I've seen that before. So,
yeah.
You got to look. For me, I got to look at what they're doing. Are they setting the dice? Are they hitting the same landing zone and throwing the same way every time? If they are, then I'm more likely to add bets up on that person. But still, it's a difficult decision you got to make, and that's part of your game plan you got to make going in. And you got to stick with your game plan, right? So more than likely, I'm going to don't pass in a DC, and then all of a sudden I'm caught grabbing my butt, going, okay, I got to fix this. So, we saw a lady, I think you might be who you're talking about. She threw a gazillion 6 and 8s, Jeff, down there. And so,
yeah, she did.
You just don't ever know. And she wasn't anywhere close to even setting the dice or anything else.
Yep.
But she was throwing a lot of 6 and 8s, and we were sitting there with what I call a tuma, a T-U-M-A. That's a thumb up my ass because I ain't betting it. Right? That's a tuma. That's a tuma.
That's the one, Ed. So, yeah. Huh? You and I looked. Yeah, that's the one. You and I looked at each other. We were at 42 and scared to go any higher.
Yeah, well, on a random, I'm pretty happy collecting. I'll collect 3 or 4 times. I don't mind collecting $50 for one on a random shooter on a 6 or 8. I don't mind that a bit. But sooner or later I won't go to 90 and dare them to hit it a few more times. Normally they don't, but I've already collected 2 or 3 times at $50, so I'm happy with that.
All right, let's go on to the person I saved for last for this, and that's Vince. Do I need to put the question back up, Vince?
What was the question?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that, and I got to go back and find it.
Sorry.
Chris, John, somebody help me out. I'm scrolling back.
Do you qualify?
I'll get it.
Oh,
it was.
no.
Do you guys bet? You got it.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, here it is. This is from Arnell.
I think that I kind of like Arnell's style of approach on betting on shooters. What I do is I'll just start, like, for example, 110 inside or 160 across, and I look for the dead weight numbers. After a few rolls, I pull them off. Like if a 4 is not rolling, I pull the 4 off. If a 10's not rolling, I pull it off. My more focus is on, instead of pre-qualifying a shooter, I keep a photographic memory of the shooters that I already shot. Because a lot of those shooters, they don't really make much money because they're so focused on shooting. So what I do is I focus on investing in shooters. And you'll ask Sue this, and she knows how many times I'll give $100 to put the guy back in the game because they run out of money. And meanwhile, they're the best shooter at the table. But I know the guy's rolling 6s and 8s. So I'm not going to bet the 160 across. I'm going to bet the 6s and 8s and give the guy $100 for, hey, yo, roll the dice. And wake them up. Sometimes they're sleeping. But shooters, it's all about the shooters. You got to take care of them because they don't make money. I'm sorry, but they don't make money. They're so busy focused on their dice rolling. They don't make too much money. They got the least amount of chips in their rack, but they're making us a lot of money. And I like Arnell's approach. You bet what they're rolling.
Yep. No, that's it. Yep. No, I agree with that. And Dan DVD stole my comment for you, Vince, about the photographic memory. I was going to say that you might have a photographic memory, but it just takes too long to get the film developed. But anyway, no, Vince, you are without a doubt one of the fastest to get on bets and to know the payouts that I've ever seen. And I know I've watched you when you've played. You don't have a calculator; it's right up there in your mind. And kudos to you because I'm pretty good with math. Yeah, I'm pretty good with math, but sometimes it fools you. Like Craig said a little while ago, looking at wrong payouts and knowing that if you, like Chris said, Craig both said, have the $2 ready to go to 42 from 35, and it's just, it is that. Well, guys, we answered that question. If anybody else has a question, we'll do a last call for questions, then we'll get the last comments from each of our panelists. It's been a great discussion tonight for not having a guest on and continuing this great craps debate amongst us all, including people probably saw me drinking what I was drinking. A couple of people on the panel know why I'm drinking that, but I see Ed and John constantly refilling their glasses, so I'm kind of jealous because I'm putting clear liquids in me today. So,
I
with
am
that
too,
said,
but mine's gin. It's my clear liquid is gin tonight. So it's clear and it feels good. So
yeah,
I hope you don't have any damn hair. You're drinking gin.
Yeah, John, there was a couple times I had
got something over there.
I had to actually mute your audio while you were putting ice in the cup a couple times, John.
I used to have ridiculous hair, by the way. I have pictures to prove it. I had hair down to my belt when I was younger. I had good hair.
Yeah,
this
so
is on
did I.
purpose.
Now look, yeah.
Then you started drinking gin.
Yeah. I love me some gin. Yeah.
Probably orders a skinny martini or a skinny margarita on weekends.
Ed, you're getting a lot of compliments here in the chat. A lot of people said they get bucket lists, they want to come play with you, and some people said that's what they would sure like to do it. But I like Midmo's question here. I just want to drink with Ed. So, I can tell you, Churro, that was just as well of talking with them as it was sitting down with AZ and sitting next to him and playing, whether we were playing the Let It Roll or the Bubble Craps or whatever together, standing next to him and having great conversation. I also had an opportunity to sit and have lunch with Brian from Hawaii Crap Shooters and Chef Dice and a couple other Hawaii Crap Shooter members. That whole trip, the whole camaraderie was good, although I do have to say that a nightcap with Ed, Mark, and Clay every night just seemed to set off the night as a good night, regardless of those first couple of days, Ed. It was rough. So, yeah.
The first 2 days was rough, brother.
That was how it was last week too. But it all comes around. Well, I'm not going to give it away. I'm just going to let it go with that. So, guys, it looks like we've wrapped up on the questions. It's a shame because we just peeked at our viewers again. So we'll give it a couple more minutes. Let's go around. And does anybody have a question that they would have liked to have asked if they weren't on the panel, or something that you wanted to talk about once before? Anybody?
Thinking.
Say it again, Jeff.
Do you have a question or something that we've not talked about, or you want to, you have a question that maybe when you weren't on the show you wanted to ask, or you got a question for either one of us that are here?
Why did I turn blue?
I don't know. I don't know. Smurf, maybe. Maybe you're drinking,
He's a Smurf man.
Yeah, he is a Smurf man.
Papa
yeah, you're a Smurf.
He's got the Smurf class going.
Craig, I think it's it's probably your filter for your back screen. You probably turned it off and turned it on again. It would probably fix it. I don't know.
Oh,
you
you're
kind of
slowly
cleared up
coming
there.
in.
There we go.
There you go.
Hey.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, I don't have anything else tonight. The question comes as to go ahead. Go ahead. Well, I look up the date, John. Go ahead. Sure. I got a question coming in the chat.
It is. We're getting up against that. I put this out in Discord. We're 4 days away from the next hard hat. Nominates every one of you guys right now. Nominate somebody for the hard hat. Not me. Anybody but me or Jeff. Nominate somebody for the hard hat.
I
voting's going to happen on Friday.
That, John. John,
Yeah,
I was
go for
in
it.
Casino Gaming TV and I clicked on hard hat and you said you got to get your vote in for the hard hat, but you can't comment in that post. It doesn't let
What?
you. And there's no link to
Yeah,
click to
you can't
vote
put it in the
anywhere.
chat.
You can't write in that room. Did I make it? Did I
It
make it
says
private? No.
you're unauthorized to chat.
Yeah, John.
What?
Only moderators and admins can.
I'm sorry. That's my fault. I'll fix that
DGN
now.
wins by default.
All I could do is put a thumbs
will-
up on it. That's what it's.
All right. Well, all right. I'll fix that right now. But in the meantime, let me know who you want to nominate for the Hard Hat Award. I have lots of my people I want to nominate, but I want to know from you all and in chat, who do you want to nominate?
I got a toss up between Skill and Luck and Duracell 8. Is Duracell 8 in there?
He was in there last time. I think Duracell is a
in there.
He's a game changer. Dude is
Yeah.
he is a game changer for sure.
Yeah.
Nobody
for-
works
for
harder
most
behind
people-
the scenes than him, right?
Yeah, he's always doing the thumbs up and the likes. And for those that don't know, he's the one that put the Facebook page together for us Crapsy hosts to be able to put out a schedule on Facebook that you guys can certainly go and see. But John, I scrolled back to those questions you asked me about. If you can go back to them, the YouTube chat's not allowing me to go back that far. For some reason. But we have a couple questions. I don't want to miss anybody. Mike, Dustin, and Chris Dicer. I must have missed a question somewhere. I apologize if I did. I don't have my typical chat queuing system working tonight. Yeah, I thought I did, but
Mike, Dustin, and Chris.
okay,
Yeah, I've
maybe that
made
was
a note of
earlier.
everybody who's asked the question and crossed it off as you went.
Okay, then John, that must have been a text from earlier that I must have missed from you because I just did see the text message come in.
That was my question.
You did
I
get a
just fixed
question
the
in
room.
here, Rich. Jeff from Rich.
Here we go. I don't
About
drink when
drinking,
gambling.
yeah.
What about you? Well, we talked about this a little bit earlier. Some of us do, some of us don't. I don't drink until afterwards, and I don't typically drink at all anyway. But after this show, I'm probably going to have one. Just kidding. It's been a great show. I don't. So what about everybody else?
I don't drink, period.
All
I
right.
agree with Old Baked Crabs. Drinking makes you bet more.
Yeah. That's the idea why it's free in most casinos.
Oh, yeah. Pinot Grigios get a nice impact.
Just give me a
Did
cup
you
of
just
coffee
see
and keep
Pinot
it going.
Grigio at the tables, Vince?
Oh, my God. You never heard about that story. Did you see that all those pictures I posted on the 24th of December? I had my roll to win machine at $19,800. I was playing the whale and mine strategy, and I had my table up to $19,800. Me and Sue must have went through about a bottle and a half of Pinot Grigios because the waitress kept coming over all the time, giving us Pinot Grigios all the time. But for some reason,
why Pinot Grigio?
At
I
a
don't
crap
know.
table, you drinking wine, dude? Come on.
What the hell are you
for Craps
doing?
Motivation. Craps Motivator.
Craps motivation, man. That's like, Craps motivation. That's motivating me to I don't even want to.
Go to
I don't
the
want to go
bathroom.
there right now. But yeah, dude, no Pinot Grigio, man. Man card, get off for that one. Come on,
Oh,
I
God.
wonder if you got long hair.
Jesus. Listen, Vince, do that in Philly. You'll have that bottle broken over your
my
head
God.
and spilled all over you. Take a
Ouch.
bath in it.
All right.
At the
It's funny.
tables. Even Groupie doesn't drink wine at the table. She knows.
George. Okay. See that?
All right. Hey,
Yeah.
Chris, here's a question for you, Chris. They want to know when does the next recording for round 2 of the Craps March Madness happen?
Probably this week. I have trying to get 2 people to record round 1 still, and then round 2 will start, and hopefully I can get these 2 people. If not, then I'm just gonna roll them out, and it is what it is. But yeah, round 2 will probably start this week.
All right. I'm going to give this one out here for my friend Frank over in Brigantine. He wants me to say Dicer out, so he's missed it all week long. A couple of my videos I put out for my trip reports. So here you go. Most people don't see me say it, but Dicer out. There you go. All right. So I got that out of the way.
Hey,
Try to please everybody.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes.
I got a question. Do you ever get people approach you and say, "Man, dude, you sound like Mean Gene Okerlund"? Did you ever get that?
No, but I kind of look like him. I'm just a shorter version of him because I've actually met Mean Gene, Vince. I met him at the Coliseum in Newport News in probably 1987. I actually met the man and actually talked to him. Yes. Yep. Yeah. Nobody's ever said that. I get people say a lot of other things that I can't mention on this show, but not that one.
You do sound like him.
Do I? Mean Gene Okerlund. Oh my goodness. I'd have to go back and listen. You know, I do a lot of voiceover radio commercials, and I can change my voice a little bit from the tone, but they like it because I can talk real fast and get it in so they don't have to slow it down. That's what they like. Instead, I have to speed it up to hit that 30-second mark on that spot. I just talk real fast for them. So a lot of comments coming in about the show, guys. We appreciate it. The next show I'm looking is there's a conflict with my schedule because of the Easter Sunday. So the only Sundays that I actually have would be Easter Sunday, and if we went, it would have to be 10 o'clock Eastern my time. If we went then, I don't know that that's going to work. It would for people on the Pacific side maybe. But otherwise, the next show is scheduled for the 23rd because the Mid-Atlantic Craps and the Craps Nation meetup is April 12th through the 16th, and I will be still in Atlantic City on the 16th. I think I'm going to extend my stay to Monday the 17th. So looks like the next day is going to be the 23rd of April, our show on the 23rd of April. I appreciate everybody that is here tonight and that everybody out there in chat. I think we did peak over the 60 viewer mark at one point today. But in any event, let's go ahead and close this show down. Okay, 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Can we go back to John's question?
Sure, go ahead.
What was my question? Oh, the
I
nominations?
nominate
Yeah, go for it.
Dice Degen for Hard Hat.
Yep, I've just put up about 7 or 8 different votes for that in the chat here. Dice Degen, Vince, George from CY, and George. There was one more. There was one more that somebody put up here. I scrolled back here. I already hit it. Craftsmaster Journey.
Joe and Duracell both got votes. Yep. I'll tell you, how hard is Joe working, by the way? How many videos is Joe putting out? Joe's doing like man style work
every day.
Now. That guy's putting out some every day. He's crushing it. Yep. So yeah.
Yeah, Craig's only crushing it like once a week.
All right.
Yeah, whatever. So do some work.
You should see me manage.
Go ahead, Vince.
Guys, don't forget about the King of the Mountain on Friday nights, Casino Gaming TV. Log in to casinogaming.tv, sign up with the Discord, and get yourself on the list because it's really short. But guys, it is a limited seated event. So guys, get in early because that list is going to get real long because I got the King of the Mountain and I got the belt. I got both of them. Right, so I know that it's going to grow real long. So now's the chance to get in there.
Well, as soon as you did that, Vince, I put my name back on the list.
Well, I just looked. 3 people took it off. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. All right, guys. Let's go around. Most of us on the panel are YouTubers. We would really like people to come on, like Vince. You know, if Vince, we might as well consider you a YouTuber. The other Vince, Colonel Potter, because you're on Big AZ's show almost every night, playing there with the crazy craps over there. That sometimes I just wonder how both of you Vinces do what you do. But most of you are YouTubers, so we'll close it out starting with Colonel Potter, and we'll just go around real quick. What'd you think of the show tonight?
I love the show. Honestly, it's nice to be on with everybody. And thanks for considering me like more or less an honorary YouTuber myself. Because and I joke with AZ all the time about there's the one spot in his table rack there that is, I consider it the perpetual Vince rack because it's either occupied by me or him. Oh, actually, him. Yeah. You get it.
You looking at me? You looking at me?
Yeah, I'm looking at you.
All right, let's go over to the other Vince. Vince, what are your comments on the show? And we'll go ahead and get out of here.
All I gotta say is, Mac, it's so great to have you back, man. When you guys are out in Vegas or on your road trips, man, we go through withdrawals, man. We do. We go through withdrawals, and it's great to have you back. I'd like to see more craps chat. Sundays every other side. We need more. Well,
we're trying to do the best we can. Yeah, sometimes too much of one thing is of a good thing is too much, but we're trying to do what we can do, try to keep it entertaining, and try to keep it moving. Vince, we appreciate you coming on. We missed you. You haven't been on in almost 6 months, so welcome back, my friend. I appreciate that. All right, Craig, Obey, final words.
Hey, it's always a great time. You know, when I first got on to Craps Chat back in the summer, I think it was, I was hesitant to come on, you know, being a new YouTuber in July. And it changes everything. I do the same thing I do in my normal job, which is you got to network. Network just grows you as a person and as a player. And that's why I originally got on. So this is for everybody who's got a channel that's starting up, or they've had a channel for a year, but not really in and out. I actually tried to pull somebody into the show who I just came across their video for the first time yesterday. I noticed they had like 236 subscribers. I think I'll say his channel. His channel was
Sure.
He's the opposite of Chef Dice. I think it's called Dice Chef.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If Arnell's still watching.
Yeah, I think his name's Jeffrey.
Jeremy,
and I was like,
right? Yeah.
I was like, I think it's Jeffrey. I was like, you should come on Craps Chat. It comes on every other Sunday. So
Yep.
I mean, this is a great venue for everybody that's here and all the people in chat. And thank you for all the comments you guys do and all the questions you all give. It's always a great time. Never
I've written that down, Craig. We like everybody to come on, regardless of what position they take in craps and where they stand with the community or with against the community. But Arnell, I call him the gatekeeper of all the lists. When I see a new channel, I DM him and text him, and he sends me the list back. I haven't scrolled it today because there's over 200 of them. But that's not why I haven't scrolled it today. We've just been busy with my production of the show here. It's kept me a little busier than being able to do my normal routine here. But all right, so Ed, I'm surprised you stayed this late, my friend. You just said that you couldn't stay up late. You got to work tomorrow.
I'm drinking.
Do you have to work tomorrow? Let's see here.
Look, you know, it's a fun group. This has been a great little panel. I mean, we didn't have a special guest tonight, which just gave the rest of us time to just BS and talk about whatever we're going to talk about. So I really enjoyed it. Nice to meet Mr. Colonel Potter up there. He's that way. Yeah, I did it right.
You did it right.
I did it right.
To your left. There you go. You got it. Always backwards.
I did it. It's backwards, but I did it. It's been fun. You know, I was just gonna sit in the crowd and just kind of, you know, watch tonight and go to bed, but I decided to jump in, so I'm glad I did because it was fun.
All right, cool.
I remind everybody that, you know, hey, we're having our Biloxi Brown Water Bash June 10th. If you're interested, just come on down. Let me know you're coming so I can kind of get you in the loop.
All right.
How can they
there you have
contact
it.
you?
It's roll
How can
to
they contact
win.
you?
Yep. How can they contact you? He's asking for your email address, Ed.
Roll to win, gmail.com. Roll to win craps at gmail.com.
There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
perfect
June
is
10th
great.
weekend, we're going to be down there in Biloxi. We're going to drink some brown water and shoot some craps.
And shoot some other crap too. All right.
Yeah, we're going to shoot a lot of crap, and we're going to drink a lot of brown water. I can promise you that.
I'm in.
All right, let's go to my Philly friend, Chris Dice-Dejan, and then we'll head up to John. Chris.
Great show as always. Great show. Again, thank you as always to Jeff and Dylan for creating this and putting it on. Great panel. Thanks to everyone in chat. Come on the show though, please. We don't bite. We just have a good time. So come on the show. All right. I say the same thing to people when we go to the casinos. Don't be afraid to come up to us and talk. Just not when we're shooting, but otherwise, you know, come up and chat, whatever. I met a subscriber on the golf course today. So, like, come on. We're friendly. I promise. Ask your questions in person. Let's get, like, a nice big panel going. And love you all. And thanks for a great show.
All right. Let's see. Before I go to John, if there's an interest for an after show, Start joining the Zoom now. We'll leave it up for a little bit. I know some of us have to go, but if you want to come to the after show and continue talking craps, it does get quite raunchy at times there. So just, if you're offended by that, don't come there. But we'd love to have you in the after show. Sometimes it lasts 10 minutes, sometimes it lasts 10 hours. Not really. It has gone 4 hours before. Here's a question for you, John. When you give your words, they want to know, is there get a different date for the Crapsathon, John, so we can make our plans to attend. I've already switched my schedule. I hope that you don't switch the date. So can you answer that?
Well, yeah. So the targeted date right now is Veterans Day weekend, which is the 11th of November, because we're going to be doing PTSD is going to be our cause this year. Craps for the Cure will be going for PTSD. There's some great stuff in the chat from Duracell, from other people that want to do other charities like St. Jude's. Duracell's got the Freedom Foundation. There's so many good charities we can raise money for during the year, but that event that weekend in Vegas is going to be a veterans-focused thing this year, and that's what we have so far. I'm locking in with David, and I will make an official announcement as soon as I have Casino Quest locked down for that weekend. So that is the current.
Do you feel confident about that date?
I am 90% confident. I have to have David say yes. So the thing is, David's a veteran.
Let me know when you're 100%. I'll be there.
I will. David at Casino Quest is a vet, and he locks that place down for the vets to come in. And we thought, let's find a way to have the vets in the building as well as us. Let's do a whole thing. Let's just make it a big event and celebrate the military and kind of, I think that's the right charity for this year. And I think there's so many other things. There's so many good ideas out there, but we can raise money through Super Chats all year long and push that towards all the other great causes. And I think there's a PTSD guy in New York that actually raises dogs, and he trains dogs to work with vets who have PTSD. And like donations to that guy would actually buy dogs and trainers and put like actual service animals with actual people, like direct donation versus going to some national thing. What a cool idea that is. I think that's one of the best ideas I've ever heard of. I just love it. There's so many good charities and the good thing is you guys are all in on us all the time. So every year we do this, we're going to pick a new charity, and we have the more money we make at the table, the more money we can donate, right? That's how I look at it. So that's going to be I'll let you know as soon as I know, Ed, for sure. On the dates for that.
Well, it's ironic that you mentioned that date, John, because I do a fundraiser locally here for somebody in that month, and that's the date they chose only because I said I couldn't go the other date. So it's not locked in yet, so maybe we'll have some time. So as the people in the chat asked for and Ed asked for, the sooner we can lock that date in, the better chance it is I could finally attend one of these things. So, John, on the show tonight, what did you think?
I think this show sucked, actually. It was awful, and you all are a bunch of idiots. No, I'm just kidding. It was fantastic. This is great. No, this is great. And Vince Armenti said it perfectly. You stole my thunder, as they say in the radio business, right? Jeff, we missed you so much while you were gone, right?
I don't know about that.
It's one of these. Well, dude, we did. So here's the thing. I can show you my phone. Dial and text me every day. You going live? You're going to go live? You play crap? You're going to go live today? I'm like, I can't talk. My voice left me last week. I was trying to I said, I'll be like Jeff Jr. all week and do some crapsies. I couldn't do it. And everybody's freaking out because Jeff's not here. Right?
I tell you, it was a barren Sunday today. There was a long, 8 to 10 hour period of nothing.
Man, you're loved. Wow. You're loved and missed, Jeff. You're loved and missed. And I think the same thing happens when I go away and there's no coffee and crabs. It's like people are into the routines. And I'm happy that we're friends. I always say this. I cherish our friendship, and I respect the hell out of you. Dial you as well. This is such a great group of people. Like this whole panel and the people in chat, we are literally family. I say it every week. I almost tear up every time because we are so close now. All of us are.
Well, speaking of great people, speaking of great people, I just want to let people in the chat and people here know that the battle's coming. It's just going to stew until about May, right, Chris? Yeah. Chris and I are meeting in Atlantic City, and I'm sure something will come out of it.
Well, I already had to separate the two of you, so let's not go there again today, okay? I'm just kidding, John. I appreciate the kind words. You, Chris, and I are going to have a conversation this week, and you might be surprised by the conversation, but we'll see where it goes from there. I appreciate the kind words. Appreciate everybody in chat today asking me about the trip. I don't want to steal Big AZ's thunder and give out all the details that took place, because he's got like 15 hours of video that's really going to be awesome video. You're going to see some tough times, and you are going to see some fantastic times. And unfortunately, I was only at the table 2 of the 5 or 6 fantastic times that were there. So with that said, Dylan, you're up next.
Well, I've got a few little comments. First of all, I don't know if John for the hard hat, is Big AZ nominated? Yes or no on it yet?
He won it.
He won it.
He's already won it. Yeah.
You won it. Okay, so he can't. Okay, all right.
Jeff,
all right.
Jeff January,
he was second.
AZ February, Texas Shooters in March. Yep.
Okay, all right. So I was going to say, if he was left out, then I'm going to nominate him. But I'll go ahead and nominate Troy again. That created the KPI or whatever that thing is, because that's good hard computer work that everybody uses, and it's an open source or open code or whatever that they've all, it's like that Linux stuff that has an open source code or whatever that they're always improving on. So I know that takes a lot of work and a lot of credit needs to go to Troy, and so I really want to put his name in the hat that he gets recognized for that. And so that's number one. Number two was I know that I talked to when I talked to you, John, you had mentioned that in passing that you might get Ed and a few others together, because Ed had just done a few with Joe that's in Wisconsin to come together, a group of people to talk about dice setting and dice sets and whatnot. And I know that some people have done different dice set videos and stuff, but I think that there needs to be a common ground with verbiage and definitions and whatnot, so that everybody's on the same page for beginners, for the 101 stuff. And so for an introduction into that, and so that I thought that you were going to get a group of people together, maybe on Coffee and Craps or some other form of whatever, but at least a group like Craps Chat that would have a panel there that they can discuss that. And I'm not super into the knowledge of saying it, of the verbiage and stuff, so I wouldn't be qualified to do it. But I know Ed and Joe and George from CY and some of the great good minds that can put it all together and break it down in crayon, and for beginners, that we all have a good verbiage, a good foundation of what dice setting is, and so that we can all proceed and have good communication level for everyone to come to. I think that's a good starting point, and I think that's really needed and missed. So I highly encourage you to get that group together and to do that, John, for us, please, because it's really, really needed.
Absolutely.
So that was okay. That was one.
All right, hurry, wrap it up here, darling.
And the other one, was that.
Hey, Dylan, hurry up!
Hurry up, Dylan! Come on, hurry up!
Get one of the other ones.
Let's go.
One of the other ones is that I'm flabbergasted that this went so quick. This show just was zoomed by so quick, and we didn't really have any pre-plans or anything like that, because that's what we do. And it was so fun. It was a great panel, like always. But the time just went like that. That Carol Burnett, old song when she wraps it up. I'm so glad we had this time together. It's great. So and then Jeff, you are so missed, and everyone is having their crapsy withdrawal. So when are you coming on next to have so we can have our crapsy fix? And then I'll go from there. So thank you very much. But we really need our crapsy withdrawal taken care of. So
Well,
when are you going to take care of this?
How about I answer that, and then we'll wrap the show up, because we all get 60 seconds, and that might have been about an hour and a half. I'm only kidding, Dylan. Because every point that you made was valid. I'm back tomorrow night for the D8 Perpetual Table in March. We're also going to announce the winner of we're going to draw for the announcement of the winner of the Come Play With Us promotion tomorrow night. So it's a late show. It's 9:15. I have a guest shooter Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday, I have a guest shooter. I'm not going to say who it is. If you haven't been to my channel, it's already posted. But Monday and Tuesday nights we'll have them. So I'll be back in the month of April. We're going to cut it back a little bit more, because right now there are 24 YouTube channels doing Crapsy, along with the private people that are doing it through many other forms of Discord, and over there on Color Up's Discord, and they're playing it. So there's a lot of Crapsy out there. Dylan, you're not going to believe this. We had 8 people waiting to get into the after show. There's only one person. Craps Master Journey Joe is the only one that held in there while you were talking to stay in for the after show. So the guys that were in the after show, come back on. I'm getting ready to wrap it up. But Dylan, I actually have to say, you and I talked about this well over a year and a half ago, maybe a little more than that, about having some type of roundtable talk show. Ran it by John. You and I did a pilot show. Here we are, season 2, episode 5. We're here, and we'll be back on April 23rd. If not before, I've got something I want to talk to John about, possibly for next Sunday night, but I'm going to talk to him about it then, and we'll see what happens. So, guys, for everybody in chat and the 40-some people that are still with us, I appreciate it. If you want to come join the after show, don't know how long it's going to be, join the after show by hitting the description in the link above or description below. Guys, on behalf of everybody here tonight and my good friend Dylan, the creator of the show, till the 23rd, you never know, maybe next Sunday, we'll see you. Be safe and play smart. Everybody here, stay here.